Speak more Japan. No, Nikon's drunk, therefore we're not going to get Nikon. Hardballer cast. The day a hardballer cast happens is the day it's all over. It's all ogre then. It's all ogre then. No, you didn't. You didn't miss anything. They just answered my call. Brandon wearing some athletic pants. Did you guys see that? You see those athletic pantaloons that he had on? Holy shit, bros. Oh, come on, man. Dalesy, are you really the best? Hardballer cast is a sign of the imminent apocalypse. That's true. That's true, Ming Mao. KBMOD Spoopcast. He's wearing shorts? Cocaine Dalesy is the best. That was a tight ass. I don't know what's going on here, bros. No one is answering. Where's my phone? Is it in my pants? This is the part where we could promise belligerent drug use, but I don't know if we could do that on Twitch. That's probably against TOS. It's also on my fuck, boys. Salsa on my balls, boys.
We rowdy.
Salsa on my balls. I forgot to make fucking coffee. God fucking damn it. Looks like a small intimate cast this evening where we touch each other a lot and play Who's in My Mouth.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Quite okay with that. You're drinking coffee at 10 p.m.?
Yes.
Nice. Good shit.
This is my life. This is where I'm at right now.
So, we really have no one else now. I mean, I know John is marriaging.
Oh yeah, I forgot John was marriaging. Holy shit, I don't know where Nick Fenton is. I know APL is in haunted houses, but I don't know if Nick was going with him. So.
Questions that need answers.
Hardballer, you're not getting on this podcast. I don't know how many times I can say it in how many different ways.
Poor Hardballer.
Hardballer for podcast. You know what? You know what bugs me the most about Scott Fisher? He didn't even host this channel before he went to get his spoops on.
Blatant disregard for what we're trying to do here.
Disregard. You know what, Maddie? You just come on for the whole cast. I had you for a segment, but then nobody showed up. And your Skype picture is ridiculous.
It is good.
I love how his caption is Australian KBMOD correspondent.
That's my caption? That's a little bit much.
Well, that's what you are.
That is true. Australian foreign correspondent is the official title. I wanted that on the business cards.
Maddie took off work to be on this podcast. Because he's in Upside Down land.
I tried to get something to flip the webcam upside down, but apparently that doesn't exist. I tried, and Logitech's, no, we don't do that. I'm like, oh.
You like emailed their customer support, like, look, there's something really important I need to do.
No, there was like a forum thread on it, like, hey, I really want to turn my camera upside down. And they're just like, well, we can't let you do that. There's nothing that supports that. I'm like, well, you people are no fun.
Wow.
Can't you? Oh, I guess Skype takes over the webcam when it's in there. I was gonna say, because you could definitely flip your webcam itself, but
yeah, I mean, I could physically turn my camera upside down, but I don't think it'd help. I could try.
I don't know.
See, it's not any better, is it? It's still just the same.
No, you were upside down.
Was I really?
Yeah.
Oh my god. How do I sit it like that? Hang on. We'll make this happen. We'll make this happen.
It's actually disorienting for me to look at this.
I'm sure it doesn't like.
I can't get it to sit. I can't get it to sit on my monitor.
Right. That's what I was gonna say.
You look like you were upside down and in an earthquake.
Too spooky.
Yeah, no, we can't do that.
Test.
I'm watching it on stream now. Wow. Yeah, that's awful.
It was actually disorienting for me. Like, it felt weird to look at.
That was weird to look at.
May sound dumb.
I agree with you.
It's like, what is happening?
You got me as I was eating and drinking, Daniel.
Well, you know,
Yeah, so-
we're very professional. Why is the Texas State Fair on my Snapchat? What is this shit?
Yeah, just like random shit gets added to my friends list and shit.
It just says "Get it, girl," and it's a girl line dancing.
Well then.
Nick, is that still you on the keyboard?
That
Yeah,
is
sorry.
Jesus.
It's the same from last night. It just sounds like him just mashing the space bar over and over again.
No, it's arrow keys. I'm playing Necrodancer.
I remember your explanation, but it's not nearly as funny. Ugh. Oh man.
Can you guys hear me okay? Will mic sound okay?
Sound
Yeah.
good.
Alright, I reformatted and so I had to get everything back to how it was.
Why'd you reformat?
Well, I've had this Windows installed for over a year, and I happened upon a second 500 gig SSD. So I decided, might as well just RAID 0 it.
How do you just happen upon that? It's just like, oh yeah, there it was. It's just happened.
I got it from a friend.
Okay.
I love
I just mean that I didn't purchase it with the explicit intent of doing this, but because I had it and I don't have another use for it, and it happened to be the exact same drive I already had, I thought this seems like an ample opportunity to go ahead and just RAID 0 because, you know, that's important.
It is important.
It's important to have data that is twice as likely to fail and have a negligible benefit. But whenever
There it
anyone
is.
asks, I get to tell them that I have this thing.
It's what my roommate just did with his computer because he's an idiot and has way too much money to spend. He just spent $2,000 on a 980 and a 5930K and some DDR4 and
Is your roommate
and a
named
G-Sync
AJ?
monitor. No,
'Cause
he has
he just did that too.
He has a much better haircut. So
I don't know
he's
if
not
that's
AJ.
possible. I'll be honest with you.
I think
AJ
most
is very
haircuts
much
are better.
less anime hair now, and it's kind of disappointing.
Is he really? Oh, I haven't seen
Yeah.
it. I'm only used to anime hair.
Oh, well, I give out my Snapchat immediately. A shit chat Snapchat from Josh. Thank you.
Wait, from Market? That Josh?
Yes.
Yeah. That's the only Snapchats I get from him. It's like, oh, look, Josh is on the toilet again. What a great guy. Good for him.
Gratuitous amounts. Is it cool if I smoke weed while I listen? Yes. That's cool. I would
We don't
actually
endorse-
suggest, this is not endorsed by KBMOD.com or any of its affiliates, that you do PCP during this podcast if possible. I want you running through walls to listen. With no
How
feeling.
fast can you say that now, Dan?
I don't know. That's the first time I've ever done that.
It was good. It was good. It was professional. I like that. It's like the end of like campaign ads for politicians. You get the really, really fast disclaimer. It was good. I liked it.
Hardballer, I want you to start your own podcast. I think you should do that. Start your own podcast.
He started his own
In his
group.
mind,
But-
he's already the host of a podcast. They've done a bunch of episodes.
a bunch of episodes.
Tons.
You know it'd be called the Ha Ha Cast. You know it would.
Haha, space, exclamation mark. Cast.
Space exclamation.
I don't even think he would put cast. I think it'd just be called haha. It'd just be kind of like if you don't know what you're in for, then too bad.
Oh, man. Well, I think this is the cast tonight. Right here. The
I'm
intimate
sorry.
Where's Scott?
Australian.
Scott should absolutely be here.
Scott is in a haunted house or something right now.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Nick Fenton, I don't know where he is. I don't think he's with him though, for some reason.
Fenton has been legally declared dead.
Well, here's what I do know about Nick Fenton. Here's what I do know from Slack this week. This is what I know about Nick Fenton. He has cleaned out his walk-in closet. He has purchased speakers and a futon, some type. And I think he is also getting a lava lamp or some blacklight posters. He's turning it into a veritable zoot room where he will be zooted.
I was gonna guess he was making a sex dungeon.
No, Nick Fenton sex. Come on.
I hope he bought this all in one transaction, like all of these items at one place at the same time, because that would have been really like, I want a lava lamp and a futon and some speakers and some posters.
He bought like these cute little Logitech speakers, and so the You Ain't Mavis Beacon podcast.
That's racist. I bet Hardball said that. Noted racist.
Enfen is buying a lot of Sailor Moon body pillows. It's a rumor. I can't confirm that.
Enfen confirmed for FBI watch list. Okay. Well, that probably happened a long time ago.
Proton. Looking through Slack here for more clutch Nick
I'm with
Fenton
Mark on
facts.
this one. Nick, where is Roger? Nick, what happened to Roger?
He's in
He
the
okay?
living room.
Is he alright?
Yeah, he's good.
Fine.
He's not on this podcast.
So
We
Roger
could use extras right now. We could use extras.
Roger has reminded me that of the horrible cross-eyed John from summer camp this year, which was like a skeleton zombie combo thing that they had at camp.
Oh, I remember this story.
And I had some devil's lettuce and a bunch of drinks, and they tried to put Cross-Eyed John in my tent with me. And I just told them, I like questioned their morals as to why they would do this. That's what I did. I wasn't like, don't do that. I was like, why would you do this to a person? To another human being? Why would you do this? Oh my god, the tapping. It's killing me inside.
Sorry.
Oh
He
my
can't
goodness.
stop. Every time he stops for a
100%
little bit.
serious. You have to mute your mic. I'm not joking.
It's so ridiculous. Necro
yesterday.
dancer taparoo.
It was happening yesterday too. When we were all drinking. We were all drinking in a Skype call, and it's just like random conversation, and then you just hear.
Uh oh. A tweeter has gone out.
Oh no.
Please retweet. My wife is awesome. Purchased me these dark chocolate speculoos. I don't know what that means. I think it's some Halloween shit. Cookie butter cups. They are delicious. And I'm gonna have one right now.
Is she
Front of
trying to
you.
bribe you? Is she trying to bribe you into you letting her on the podcast?
She might
That was
be.
just-
She
I think she
appears
is.
to be very upset that she has not been on the podcast yet.
That's what Twitter informed me of today, apparently.
And I said, Megan, do you video games? And she said no. And I said, well then why?
She
To
might
be
bring
fair,
sage life
that's
advice.
that's like a third tier requirement for being.
That's very true. I'm more
She doesn't
scared
like
of
video
the
games. Yeah, bring her for the
information.
Twitter questions.
Yeah.
Bring her for the Twitter questions at the end. Video games
mean-
are not a requirement for that.
I mean, Nick Fenton's in theory on the podcast, so
Whoa, these are
plays-
weird.
All right, let's get those retweets in. We'll start here in just a minute or two.
So I have misunderstood what these are.
Oh no. That never sounds good.
Dalesy, I appreciate the offer. However, I'm not that into tentacle porn. Let me just I'm sort of into it, but not that into it.
Also, Hardballer's tweet. This just in, Infinite said, hate me and taste me like a puppy, that he does want me but keeps me around because the kids. Multiple exclamation mark. I think that's how it's written. I'm struggling.
These are actual cookie butter cups. This is cookie dough peanut butter cups. These are incredible. Holy shit.
Dan's hit a new level of euphoric.
Oh my goodness. Dan, if you let me on the podcast, I can get you an authentic right arm of a child lightly used. Dear God.
Wow. Good Lord.
You can collect some pretty cool stuff, apparently, just going from what the chat is willing to give you.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus.
I only offered him a koala made out of Foster's, so like he's not that hard to bribe him. I'm not made of the cans either, like made of the liquid. It's a movable liquid koala. It's incredible, really. The technology. Is just
I suck.
insane.
You suck your duck. I suck you duck. I hope chat's on stream. Okay, it is.
Every once in a while, Hardballer gets me. It's just real good. I don't know why. I should be immune to it at this point, but I'm not.
I'd probably donate half my NAACP checks to both DLZ and Matt never go on the podcast.
Oh, poor Anion.
Anion, isn't the NAACP only in the U.S.? Doesn't cover Canadians? I could be wrong. I don't know. A lifetime supply of pho. Or if I get on the pod, that I will take. That I will take.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. I don't know why you wouldn't want that.
Yeah, you can be on the podcast, man. How do I get this food now?
Yeah, they can be on the podcast the minute you get the pho. Like, you want to make sure the deal is, like, you don't want to get duped out of this. You want to make sure you get that, because that's real important.
Dan, act now, and I can get you a prosthetic leg. This is, I mean, the offers are flying in.
Didn't you lose your legs in Weed War 3? Like,
I did. This could be put to use. I will put the right arm of the child as one leg and the prosthetic leg as the other. And you can call me Stumpy Dan for the rest of eternity.
I'm just trying to picture you hobbling along like that with one like tiny leg and one giant leg, and it's a wonderful
one child's arm dangling down. Does literally nothing.
It's a pretty good mental image, though. How would you buy shoes for that, though? That is so weird. Anyway.
I know it's a small cast, but this is no excuse. We need more retweets. We're at 77, so we're at 3/4 of our weekly goal, which is admittedly a small goal. It hasn't changed in a while. It's not even like a stretch goal. This is us getting funded. This is we make the product at 100 retweets. So
come on,
let's
guys.
get on that.
Love how stern and serious you are about this. It's so good.
He's into it, man.
It's so formal,
it's
though.
It's the one thing he has.
It's such a polite, formal request. It's just
Upmarket Rat, thank you for subscribing, sir.
There we go.
Okay, Dan, let me on. If I will go fight a one-on man, if a leg as a weapon, and I will fight him in your honor and lose, so the one-armed man has to have dirty, dirty sex. You little man, I will fucking fight Yo. I can't even.
That is what that said. Yeah.
Well, some of those were words.
I can't even. What?
I thought the end of that said Elmo, and he was gonna fight Elmo, but no, apparently not. That would be cool.
Fat Attack, you already invited me to VapeCo, and I accepted your invitation. So.
To VapeCo. Oh,
I will be a huge part of your vape. Your vaping co.
Conglomerate of vaping.
Breaking bribes from KBMOD community members allow infant and sad newly christened Stumpy Dan now can walk for the first time since We Bore 3. I love these breaking news tweets. I'm like totally all about these.
I'd like that to get photoshopped into like a front page newspaper article. That would be great.
Oh my god, Rich JA92. I don't... Pirate hook abortion? I'm not sure.
Where did you get a coupon for that?
Yeah, where do you get a coupon for such a procedure? I don't
Wow.
understand.
There's some weird black market shit going on there, and I'm not sure I want to know about it.
Dude, Tomb on the podcast, the internet can't handle that. Let's just be real right
Fucking
now.
Hardballer just sent me a message on Skype that just says, "Please love me." I cannot.
This is where he's at right now. This is where he's gotten.
He's so distraught. Poor Hardballer. I almost feel bad for him.
Ooh, I'm being offered Reddit karma. This is enticing.
20,000 too. That's a lot of karma.
That's,
They
at,
offer
least,
you
that's at
gold?
least like something. That's at least something you can measure.
Yeah.
And 6 months of gold, dude. That's pretty good. That's a good offer. And it's Ming again as well, so you might get fur and all the Reddit karma. Like, you might get a double up.
This is getting ridiculous at this point.
All right,
Bros.
we're 4 retweets away from 100.
Yeah, we're
Hit
really
100
close.
retweets, and then we're gonna start. It's an intimate
Gonna-
cast.
Fireside chat. If I had a fire gif, I'd put it on
It's
the
actually
screen right
some
now.
of the news in here. It's kind of unfortunate that we don't have
I
the other
know.
members on, but I think we can have some spirited discussion.
Yeah.
Well,
Without
you
them.
guys can.
What? You can't?
What?
I'm sorry, I just assumed you were talking about hardware. I should probably look at the doc.
Well,
Like, at all.
He's been too busy, like, tapping his arrow keys for the last, like, half an hour.
I was not paying attention at all for the past, like since I joined the call, I haven't been paying attention.
Well, you're 1 out of 4 here. You were literally 25% of the cast this week, so
Yeah, I know.
you gotta pull your weight.
I know. I'm not happy about it, but I'll do it.
I will offer you all of 4chan. I don't want that.
No,
It's just... Diplomatic...
Fat Fact just linked a screenshot of his PayPal balance. He has 420 million weeds available.
Wait.
what
That
is-
doesn't look shopped.
Can I see this? Where is
fucking image of the
this?
doc?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, the image in the doc is pretty good too.
You
Yeah,
can put
that's
that
one
in
of the
Skype
Twitter
chat.
questions.
I haven't seen this document, and I'm scared.
Oh, I gotta share it with you.
Yeah, I guess that is our intro Twitter question.
Put your email on the Skype. I know it, but I don't. Oh, I know it. What the
I was about to say,
Yeah, I
didn't,
got
like,
you.
didn't you
I got
and
you,
Bob,
BB.
Like, yeah, dude, come on, man.
It's to your Gmail.
All right, cool.
All right, see 108 retweets. That's much better.
A
acceptable
subscription
number.
to Jamaica Daily. Tell me that's real.
Jamaica Daily.
Jamaica Daily.
Men's
I
Fitness.
fucking hope so.
Men's
I think-
Fitness
I think
Magazine.
Men's yeah, we can return the favor by subbing to them.
What is that image in the document? Oh my goodness.
Katie Zen, baby, at work again.
The zoom.
And
He does the good Lord's work in Photoshop as well, it appears.
Yeah, I have a link to it when we get there. We'll save it.
All right, we ready?
Yeah, we're good.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This week's KBMOD podcast, sponsored by KBMOD.com, of course. Go check it out, the website. We've been posting a lot there, including this week, which we'll talk about a little more later on in the cast. The new port reports that we started doing, specifically AJ doing just an amazing job on those articles, letting you know how good or bad some PC ports of console games are. Starting with a couple, we have Final Fantasy 13. Spoiler, it's not a very good port. And
I'm shocked.
yeah. and Rise, Son of Rome, which kind of falls somewhere in the middle because it's not a very good game, let alone the port. But yeah, KBMOD.com, go check it out. There's forums there, all kinds of good stuff. All our server information. If you're not on Mumble with us, come join us sometime, play some Vigi games. And yeah. Also brought to you by Multistream, the best way to watch multiple streams on Twitch. Shout out to Fishsticks for pimping out the Multistream a bunch this weekend. He was all over that thing.
Right.
So
I frequently use it for watching tournaments, but not necessarily for multiple tournament streams, just for watching a tournament while I also want to watch, someone else.
Right.
And I just don't have enough screen real estate.
Yep. So he had it on the FGC tournament this weekend. Fall Classic just ended a little bit ago, but they had 4 or 5 different streams going, so people were using it to watch all the different games at once on that. So make sure you check out Multistream, kbmod.com/multistream, as well as PC Part Picker, who sponsors the Multistream, helped us craft that originally. So shout outs to Philip there at PC Part Picker. Make sure you use pcpartpicker.com. If you send any of us builds you want to look at, it's what we use on our build guides each month, as well as you probably see it on Reddit if you're on there. There's huge use of it there. So PC Part Picker, he'll also be hopefully doing some stuff with us for Extra Life. So yeah, so Philip, shout outs to him, PCPartPicker.com. And last but definitely not least, the subscribers to this channel on Twitch. Thank you guys so much for your support. Without you, we couldn't get the games, have the Extra Life event, the games we play on stream, giveaways that we do, etc., etc., etc. Keep our servers up. Couldn't do without you guys. So thank you so much for your support. All right.
You also get to do the intro.
I do get to do this week. Hello and welcome to episode 161 of the KBMOD podcast. This week, we have a small, intimate fireside chat cast for you. We have Brandon here. We have Australian Upside Down KBMOD correspondent, Mr. Mattymouse, making his debut on the podcast.
Hello.
And we have Black Fright Attack, because that's what I'm calling him during October. Just now, I just started.
It's a horrifying month. Overall.
Yeah, just bad news left and right. So
You say it's an intimate cast, but we used to do casts with like 4 people, 4 or 5 max.
It started with 3.
It was 3, yeah.
Yeah, the original was 3, and there was a long time there where we really wanted to limit it to like 3 or 4 people, and then we kept growing, and people kept wanting to be on the cast, so we just kept adding.
Yep.
But this is kind of harkening back to the old days.
Yeah, the first 10 or 15 episodes. I think episode 16 was the first Nick Fenton, or maybe you? Were you earlier than that?
Yeah, I think I was before Fenton.
Brandon was like really, really early, like 5 or something like that, and I think Fenton was like... Wasn't Fenton on a podcast with
He was
Nuketown?
with Mike Pollack, yes.
Yeah.
Podcast we don't like to forget.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were on
Talking
together.
about Need for Speed a bunch. I remember that. It was about Need for Speed. The whole podcast was the Need for Speed cast. It was great.
Yeah, the Trout 91 was our first guest. That is correct. It was me, Scott Alex, and Chris Trout. The legend works at Gfinity now, if you guys have watched any of those tournaments. Still does YouTube, but not nearly as much. I think he restarted his channel too, which is crazy considering how big he was. But yeah. So, Lil JDog911, thank you for subscribing. Sub-hype in the chat a little
Lil
bit there.
J-Dog.
And this is, of course, the segment where... Well, actually, APL is in a... If you're wondering where APL is, he's in a haunted house somewhere in Los Angeles. Nick Fenton is zooted out in his closet.
Fenton's life is a haunted house.
This life is just a series of horrible events.
Scott is probably in the process of being kicked out of a haunted house for screaming "Rippy Dippy" too loud.
You're ruining the atmosphere, man.
I could see Scott and like a group of friends with him being the type that would get kicked out because they would just be so over the top that they would like be ruining the other guests' experience.
They're just so scared out of their fucking minds. They just not like they're acting. They're just really that terrified.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see him authentically just
jumpy guy.
being ridiculous and them like saying, "Listen, you've got to leave."
Well,
Sir.
at the convention I went to a couple weeks ago, the Evil Within had a maze set up, like a haunted
Oh,
maze
God.
next to their booth, and we went through it. It was me, my mate, and his girlfriend was petrified the entire time until you get to the end of the maze where there's this giant man behind like a jail cell, like hammering on it with a hammer, and she's freaking out and she goes around, and then he opens the cell and comes out, and she left the maze and then left. She like ran the whole way down the convention hall and was just like screaming the whole time. I was dying. It was fantastic. My mate comes out, he's like, "Oh God, I have to go find her now." I'm like, "Yeah, you have fun with that. You have a great time." That's what I imagine Scott is doing right now.
Just broke her heart and soul. She's just completely gone.
To be fair,
No
it was
coming
really
back from
funny.
that.
But it was really funny. So
To answer the question for chat, what scary game will Scott be playing during Extra Life, October 24th through the 26th on this channel? You guys should tune in. Scott will be playing The Evil Within. That'll be sort of the featured game. And then we also have like Condemned, Criminal Origins, and Manhunt.
oh, no.
You've never played Manhunt or seen Manhunt. It's an older game, but it is fucking terrifying in the
It's also about
best
as
way.
graphic. It's the most graphically violent
it's
game.
super graphic. So, yeah. So Brandon, what have you been up to
Hi.
this week?
Not a whole lot. I was talking about it before the cast, but I decided to reformat my PC because I had actually built this PC with like new motherboard, CPU, and everything, and kind of took the chance that I would just be able to keep using my existing Windows install, which worked out fine, unexpectedly. But you always have that thought in the back of your head that like, it's not quite right, you know, because you switched hardware. Like you might get a weird error every now and then, and you always think that it might be related back to that. And anyway, so
Yeah.
I had this Windows install for like, over a year now, and I had a friend got me a second Samsung 840 Evo drive, the exact same drive I already have, because he knows someone there, and so I decided to reformat and go RAID 0. So I have a full gigabyte or a full terabyte rather of SSD storage in RAID 0 on my computer now. I have no reason to have that at all. Like I was not dissatisfied with my drive's performance. I do not have demanding hardware needs that would necessitate that. I literally just had it sitting here and I had nothing else to do with it, so I put it in my PC. So I know I'm probably like, that sounds so stupid. People are probably so mad. But anyway, so I did that, and then I'll get a new video card soon. So hopefully, like I'll just have a really killer PC here in a few months. But that was nice. So I spent like all of this weekend resetting, trying to figure out all the different little settings that you set over a year plus of having the same install.
Mm-hmm.
And I was glad that you didn't ask me to host the cast tonight, because the one thing I forgot to save was any of my OBS scenes or anything. So I have to completely set up OBS
Oh, that's
again.
always fun.
Well,
Yeah. But I mean, I stream like all the time, so it's going to be a huge deal.
yeah, you do. I mean, constantly.
But yeah, so that's like going to be first on my list once once we get out of this call. But
Well, it's good timing because we're getting the podcast will have a new look soon. Hashtag soon. Base Rotendo has sent us a proof of concept of the new podcast layouts.
But other than that, I've just played some CS:GO. Scott's been playing a lot. Everyone's been playing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So CS:GO has still been having a lot of fun with that. I feel like I'm not really getting better, but it's a tough game. Yeah. So really just CS:GO and Hearthstone and League ARAMs every now and then.
Oh, Hearthstone.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to BlizzCon. I'm going to BlizzCon in about a month, so I've been playing a lot of Hearthstone, watching a lot of Hearthstone.
You gonna come back to WoW, Brandon? You gonna come back?
I don't
Patch
know.
is Tuesday, baby.
I know.
Look at him.
I know.
Stress.
The thing is, The thing is, it's just I know that if I get back into it, I will end up wanting to play WoW when I should do other things. And that's the problem is I know myself too well. Like it's not a problem for me if I have something else to do. I can get up and like stop playing Hearthstone or CS:GO or whatever. None of those games I can play them in small chunks of time. WoW, there's going to be so much to relearn that I can't just start out on maintenance mode, where like someone can log in a couple hours a week and do dailies or whatever, do a little raid. Like I'm gonna have to relearn all of that. So you know how much time that's gonna take? That is gonna take so many hours. And I don't know that I can do it. I'm thinking about it, but I don't know that I can do it.
Yeah, alternatively, you could just not do that and not spend tons of money and waste, hours upon hours upon hours upon hours. But I mean,
I love WoW. It's not that I don't want to come back. It's just that like the times that I have played WoW, I had time to waste. I played WoW in high school.
Yeah.
I played it in college. Like I have never played WoW when I've been like a full working adult with responsibilities. So I don't know that I can play it as casually as it has to be played with like my time commitments now.
Yeah. Understandable. We're gonna do Matty last because he has a lot of games to talk about. Yep. And that's gonna kind of start the news section a little bit. Blah. What have you been playing this week?
This is the first I've heard my name pronounced that
Holy
way.
crap.
Just hawking.
Or gargling on something.
Yeah.
Potentially phallic. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, there's a lot of potential implications here. So I guess I've been getting a good amount of use out of my 3DS. Like Smash came out a little while ago, and I'm still playing that from time to time.
But you weren't hype on it though.
Like it's not Melee, but it is a Smash Brothers game that I can play online, and the netcode is, I mean, pretty bad, but it's not. If anybody ever tried playing Brawl online, and that was like a bad joke. That was like a bad joke, and it's not that. At least it's workable. It's not like unforgivable.
Mm-hmm.
You can play it, and there are new characters to learn, and there's kind of a nice metagame where like lethality is really low. It's really easy to survive into like 150% without getting knocked out, which is, if you're used to like Melee, for anybody who for some reason has not played a Smash Brothers game, it's a fighting game where you deal damage, but you can't kill a player with just damage. Rather, the more damage they have on them, the further they get knocked back from attacks. So if you get hit at like 10% damage, you're not going to go nearly as far as when you get hit at like 95% damage. So it's really easy to survive up until like 150% in that game, sometimes even higher. I regularly am playing a heavy character like Charizard, which is my main. I regularly get up to like 200% and still don't die. So I every now and then will like score just via like incredible edge guarding. Like it takes really edge guarding is next to impossible in the game, but every now and then I'll be able to kill somebody at like 40%. And then that game is just over. That person is not coming back from that lead. Like, and it's a really difficult to do. It doesn't feel difficult because it takes a lot of skill. It's more that it's difficult because you have so few options of doing something like that. But it's still, when you pull it off, it is pretty rewarding. And I guess I've been playing. I started a Pokemon X and Y playthrough on my Twitch channel, and I also am trying to finish on my own time Leighton versus Wright, which is a crossover game between two franchises I like a lot. I have been planning on streaming the Phoenix Wright games. They're confirmed for a December release date for the original trilogy. Capcom's doing a digital download. I think it's only a digital download re-release of the first 3 Phoenix Wright games, which were originally on the GBA in Japan, DS in America. Fantastic games, one of my favorite series of all time. Just so hype. It's about law, but it's hype as fuck. You play a lawyer
He's also the best Marvel character ever.
I know you don't. Oh, he's not.
Oh, exception in Marvel. So good in Marvel. Just
have you ever seen Phoenix Wright with full evidence?
I mean, yeah, but in
come on,
then
bro.
He's garbage.
Once, I think. Once.
Chris G used to troll with Phoenix Wright, and it was amazing.
Yeah, but he's
no Rocket
Raccoon. It's interesting. You always play a lawyer who's on the defense defending a client. It's almost always a murder charge, and you have to prove their innocence. They always have the wrong person, and you have to prove their innocence. And
Japan, fix your justice system. Jesus.
Yeah, seriously. You do so by
So far down their list of concerns of things to fix for Japan. Like,
it's pretty low down.
they got a lot to fix.
You collect evidence before the case starts, and then the prosecution will line up a bunch of witnesses that'll testify against your client, and you have to kind of poke holes in their argument based on the evidence you've collected. Like, well, you're saying this, but this piece of evidence actually, and a lot of times you have to think outside the box.
Is it done like via prompts or like what?
So their testimony is broken up into chunks, and you can, at each chunk, you can have them, recite it as many times as you need, and at each chunk of like each couple sentences, you can either press them for more information, have them elaborate, which can reveal further contradictions, or if you have a piece of evidence that is not matching up, then you can present the evidence and catch them in a lie. That'll actually progress the case, and that'll kind of further unravel until eventually they're just completely proven wrong. And every now and then, like, one of the witnesses will be the real murderer or something like that. But like, it'll be something like, okay, so I have a steel pipe that was used as an assault weapon, and there are fingerprints on it where clearly, the defendant supposedly was clubbing somebody with it. But if you look at it closely, a lot of times it's like a hidden thing that you might miss the first couple times around. What you have to do is point out, well, wait a minute, the fingerprints are actually positioned based on where the thumb and the fingers are. It's actually at the head of the pipe, and there's no way you could swing a pipe like that and deal damage like that. So it turns out the person was actually the victim, and she was actually blocking the attack and caught the pipe as it was coming down on her head. So her fingerprints were on it, but she was not actually the perpetrator. Yeah. So it's really full of goofy, charming characters and stuff like that. I'm really excited to show people like how hyped this game really gets, because
you gonna stream it?
I'm gonna stream it. I'm gonna stream all 3 of the first games. There's another game where you actually play his like prosecution rival, Miles Edgeworth, and then there's another game. Yeah, Miles Edgeworth.
Edging for victory.
Oh yeah, always. There's a game where you play his successor, and then there's another game where he teams up with somebody else. So there's a whole bunch that I want to play the whole series on my stream.
Very cool.
And just that moment where you kind of he yells objection whenever you're objecting to something, and when he yells objection and the music stops, you called it right. If the music keeps going, then you're wrong. And if you're wrong 5 times, you lose all your credibility with the judge, and you lose the case. It's game over. But when the music stops and then he starts presenting his evidence, and he's like, so I don't know how they do it, but it becomes the hypest shit. The music picks back up, and you're just like, yes, suck my dick. Like, it's so good.
I don't know if that's good court banter.
You have to watch him stream this. You have to watch Nick stream it. He gets so hype over like objections, and you're like, yes, objections.
It's so good. I get the chat involved. I have everybody yell objection with me. Like, it's so fun. I really can't wait. And other than that, I've been playing through the DLC on Dark Souls 2.
Oh, good God.
Around. Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. It's not going great. Smelter Demon is just absolutely cutting me a new one.
Which
the second Smelter Demon, I guess this is the third Smelter Demon?
Yeah, there's 3.
Yeah, he's the big blue one.
Are you in which DLC are you in?
The second one. I forget which one it's called. I've already got the crown from this one, so I've like completed it. But there was like another path that I didn't explore that leads to like, I guess, an optional other boss, which is this blue Smelter Demon.
So I'll just lead this into me. I beat Dark Souls 2 again. I beat it on PS3 when it came out, and then went into it again when it came out on PC, and then took like, I don't know, 3 months off of it. Just stopped playing it. Mainly because I got the Black Gulch, and I was probably just like, fuck this.
Yeah.
So then I beat the game this past week on my amazing warrior Toilet Muscles, who's now Lord of the Giants Toilet Muscles. She's a beast. So yeah, finally beat the game again, and I started up the Sunken Crown DLC. Fuck, man.
Yeah.
Rough Tims ahead. You need so many different consumables for those DLCs. because there's like everything in the world. In that one specifically, everything can poison you,
Yes.
and then everything can also corrode equipment. So,
Yes.
And there is nothing, and I mean nothing more annoying than things that corrode equipment in Dark Souls.
Yeah. It's
Like,
pretty terrible.
It's pretty awful. But it is super well done. Also, I started using a mod called Ghetto Sato. We'll be talking about Durante more later in the news segment, but he's a modder, and he did the Dark Souls 1 mod that made it playable.
The S-Fix, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he did the S-Fix. He also then made this mod that kind of encompasses many games called Ghetto Sato, which is short for a bunch of different graphics options. It is incredible. Like, if you haven't played Dark Souls 2 with this graphical mod on, you should. It is very, very easy to install. All you do is get the file, download it, double click it, it installs. When you open it, it just has presets for Dark Souls, but you can go in and adjust, your AA and different kinds of AA and blur and HDR and all this stuff. Options that are not in the game at all. You can do super sampling, yeah, you can do resolution scaling, where you can like set the resolution of the game to 4K and then have it downscale to your monitor at 1080p. And I haven't done any of that. I just used Durantes' kind of default thing, and it made the game look like Shrine of Amana, which is one of the worst areas ever put in a Dark Souls game as far as frustration.
It's rough.
I just killed the first few things and then looked around for a while, like, because the blue flowers in the water in there, it looks incredible compared to the regular game, just absolutely incredible.
That area is a complete asshole, but it is very beautiful.
So
very well designed.
Yeah.
Graphically.
Yeah.
Horribly designed gameplay.
Yeah. Get Ghetto Sato. It has it for other games like Battlefield Bad Company 2. There have been screenshots taken of Bad Company 2 that just looks like a whole different game with this mod on.
Oh, I want to try that.
And of course, that game's somewhat older, so you don't need incredible hardware to use all the options that he has for it.
That game also just looks great in its own right. Like,
Yeah.
for how old it is, that's a fantastic looking game.
So one piece of advice for using Ghetto Sato, so you just basically, the way you use it is you can hit edit. When you open it up, there's a button that says edit settings. You can then check game profiles. It just has links to all the INIs of these games with like explanations of what stuff does. So it's much easier to change settings. So it's got a ton of them, Darksiders 2, all kinds of stuff. There's about 50 or 60 profiles in there to start. One thing I would say, make sure that you don't leave it on for if CSGO is open. It hooks into all your DirectX stuff. So it's not going to get you banned or anything, but my game would go from 300 to 50 FPS just like every few seconds until I just turned off the mod. Like, then it was fine because it hooks into DirectX. So you don't want to leave it on for a game where, for instance, COD 4 and CSGO are the ones I can name off the top of my head, where you would want specific configs to get certain FPS. So do not use it with those, especially if you use a config with those games, because your game may end up looking better or it may end up having tons of problems. But you may not want it to look better. In the case of COD 4, I want it to look like shit and give me 250 FPS. That's like the whole point. But for Dark Souls 2, it seriously makes it a whole fresh new game. Like, the lighting effects, dear God, it's so much better. So I can only recommend it. Oh, you putting that down there, Brandon?
Yeah.
All right, that's fine.
We got a nice segue after Matt goes.
Yeah.
Or I guess, well, actually, yeah. Matt still needs to go.
I'll just sit here in silence for the rest of the cast. That's fine. I'll just sit here and answer chat for you like I've been doing. That's fine. I'll be the Australian chat answering guy.
what else did I play this week? I'm trying to remember. God, what did I play on KBMOD? Blanking out. I forget. Oh, I played Dark Souls 2, so I went through that. Yeah, I only really played Dark Souls 2, and then I played some CSGO last night. We played 3 rounds of 10 mans, and it was super fun. And Hardballer's an asshole. That's all I can really
No
say.
more
about it.
NHL, Dan? No more NHL at all?
Let me tell you about NHL 15 real quick.
Got him. Let's go.
Never in the history of man has a game been so broken. Like, that has an online competitive component. I have never seen anything like it. So the way NHL works, and I don't know if this is the same for other sports games, but they have a set of what's called tuners that download every once in a while that EA will set. And what it does is it tweaks the gameplay, like as far as, you know, different settings. And usually they're pretty good. But whatever they did in this last one, I've gotten up to Division 2, which is like the top 1% of players. And it just isn't fun. It just isn't fun because I had a guy who got a 3-2 lead on me with 5 minutes left. And the way the puck control is in that game, all he did was go AFK while holding the puck, and it takes a good 10 seconds to get the puck off a guy unless you run him the fuck over, in which case you usually get a penalty. So, like, there was almost nothing I could do. With him AFK, the game was harder than if he had actually been playing. That's where it's at right now. That's where it's at. Yeah. And the thing is, so then I was like, well, I'm fucking frustrated with this. So I went and played the GM mode, which is offline. And it feels like a totally different game with the same tuners. I don't know what they do in the online to make it feel like it's stuck in mud a little bit. It's not even lag. I don't know what it is. It just does not feel the same. The GM mode is great. Like, I'll still continue to play that. The computer is so much better in this one. Like, it's a good thing because it was terrible before. You just end up destroying the thing even on hardest difficulty. But now it's pretty good. But it just sucks because I was really enjoying the online, and then it just became every game is 2-1 or 1-0 because you just can't score. And I just play extremely passive, and I've beaten people who are, you know, like 50-2 and stuff like that. I've beaten them just because I play passive. It's not even a matter of like me being any better. It's just a matter of me sitting and collapsing in front of my own net. Like,
it's just one of the, like, if you get ahead, you just lame it out.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Funny enough, you can do that in the new Smash Brothers.
God.
Yep.
With Bowser. So Bowser has an ability called Koopa Claw where it's a command grab.
Don't laugh. It's a very serious thing.
It's a very serious topic. Okay.
Super serious, Dan.
Koopa Claw seriously. So it's what's referred to as a command grab. In a game where all characters have a grab, you have grabbing, and then certain characters have special moves that are also grabs, referred to as command grabs. So like Zangief's 360s are referred to as command grabs. So he has a command grab where he can then basically pile drive the other player. The thing is, you can do it off the edge, and it counts as them dying first because he basically like body slams, like he puts them under himself and then he crushes them with his body weight. So they go off the edge before he does. So you get one stock up with Bowser, then you just sit on the edge, wait for them to come to you, then Koopa Claw and just backflip off the stage with them, and they lose. And there's even if you still only have one stock, you still win because they die first. And there's nothing they can do about it. Like Ganondorf has a move like that, but if you whiff it, he dies. And they don't come with you. Whereas Lord. Bowser, he starts it on the stage where he's safe and then just guaranteed plops them off the side. It is ridiculous. There's no reason for that.
Well, the most ridiculous part is like that was an issue in like the 64 version of Super Smash Brothers, like the first one. You could do something similar with Donkey Kong, is you could pick up the characters and walk with them. So you could pick them up and then just carry them off the edge and then throw them and then jump.
Well,
and it's the same thing.
The thing about that was a lot of people thought that was true. Donkey Kong still has that, but you can actually mash out of that. That's his standard throw, and like every other character's standard throw, you can mash buttons to get out of that before he can put you out of unrecoverable range. There's no escaping from Koopa Claw. You can't mash out of it.
You're just in the pile driver. Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
You can't escape the Koopa Claw. You can't escape it.
You just die. It's ridiculous.
So, transitioning, Mr. Mattymouse went to a convention this past week. But what video games have you been playing regardless? Not that weren't at the show.
I've been playing the email business cards I got at the show game, which is a boring game, and then Hearthstone. I finally, like, Brandon has been chastising me in Slack, so I finally bought Nax. I'm like, all right, fine, I'll play it. And then I went through Nax and unlocked all that stuff. And I'm like, wow, this game's so much easier. I was trying to do a Udan and Vow of Poverty, and I'm just like, yeah.
No, you can't with Nax. You got to just buy that whole thing.
Yeah, I had
Yeah, you can definitely Vow of Poverty with everything but Nax. Like,
Yeah.
the Nax cards are pretty essential.
So, yeah. So far that's my only money spent in Hearthstone, and I'm okay with that. But like, well, when they did the Leroy Jenkins patch, I was super happy about that one because they patched it, and it's like, oh, it goes for full value now. I'm like, oh, I unpacked 3 of those. Now I can have 3 of whatever I want, and then that was pretty awesome.
I was really upset because I unpacked 2 Leroy Jenkins, so I had one sitting around, and I accidentally disenchanted it with a mass disenchant. I forgot I was holding on to it because I was like, oh yeah, they're definitely gonna nerf him. I'm just gonna hold on to this until they nerf him, and then I'll disenchant it. And I accidentally disenchanted it like a week before. And Blizzard, being the great guys that they are, don't include any sort of undo button in disenchanting, which they really need to fix. But
yeah, that would be nice, actually. Yeah, that'd be really nice.
They need that.
So, transitioning into news a little bit here, without a break. Matty went to a convention this last week. What was the convention you were at down there?
It's called EB Expo, so it's essentially run by EB Games, or what is GameStop in the US. And it's a pretty small convention. It's not massive, but all the major publishers and everything still show up to it. So you get to play some fun stuff early. It was good. It's a good time.
So what did you see? What games? Because you went in there with media business cred.
Well, I went in because I have friends at EA, and I was originally going to be doing like an event for them, and then I end up. So Battlefield Hardline, which is really, really sounding promising now, they couldn't even get the server to run for like a 5v5 thing on a stage, which I'm like, oh, that sounds like it's going to be good. And then it ran all weekend, apparently, at their booth. But I saw a lot of fun stuff. I got to play The Evil Within, got to play more Evolve, which also make a really good shirt. What else was there? They had Borderlands, the pre-sequel. The Crew was there, Far Cry 4 was there, The Division, all kinds of stuff.
So you were real hype over Far Cry 4. You were like, it's incredible. Is it?
Yeah.
It's quite good.
It's really, really. I mean, it's more Far Cry 3, like in a slightly.
Not a bad thing.
It's in a different setting, obviously, because it's in the Himalayas and things like that. But it was awesome. Like the sequence you get to play, you're like invading or like assaulting like a village town type fortified area, and you're coming in like on elephants, so you're riding elephants into battle, which is already just super cool. And then just start mowing everything down. You can cause like these little landslides and knock people over, and the elephants will kill people for you, which is, I didn't know elephants were murderers, but apparently they are.
Oh god,
they'll knock a guy down and then just like step on his head, and you just watch it. You're like, oh wow, that looked unpleasant. But yeah, it's really awesome. You get the wing gliding suit, like the glide suit you got in Far Cry 3. You get that like right at the start of Far Cry 4, so you have that for
awesome.
the whole game. They have this little like one man like ghetto kind of helicopter as well that you can fly around and then shoot weapons from while you're flying from it, which is pretty awesome. Like, it was super good. The only thing that was weird about that is they didn't tell me when in the game was the sequence I was playing, like how early or late. And the cool thing for Far Cry 3 was that you weren't immediately like a badass right from the start of the game. You were like kind of incompetent, and then you had to build your way up to being a badass. And in this, it totally seems like you're just a badass from the start of the game. Like you can just instantly like murder 1 million dudes at once. And it's like, I don't know. I think that takes away a little bit because it was like satisfying to actually have to like get better at something instead of just being an immortal badass right from the start.
Yeah.
So, but it's still really good. Like it might have gone a little more like Michael Bay. So there's a little more like everything explodes, but I mean it's still super.
It's
awesome.
Far Cry. I'm totally okay with that. Like
It's more Far Cry 3, like the bad guys. Like, did I ever tell you the definition of crazy, loopy, crazy headness? And it's just the same exact scene, but with shittier terminology.
Voss is amazing. Don't you talk shit on Voss.
I still haven't played Far Cry 3. I'm garbage.
I can't remember the new bad guy's name, but he's also really good, and I think he's gonna stick around in this game.
I'm just gonna call him Ming Tan, even though that's just the head dude at Razer. I'm just gonna call him that for the remaining game.
Razer. So small segue. Razer had a booth there, if you can call it that. Razer didn't have a booth as much as they had a stage with like showgirls and then a DJ setup, and then they would do giveaways, and then at one point they hosted a rap battle. So, like, I'm not entirely sure what Razer was actually doing there, but it was a little, I don't know, it was loud, and there was lots of flashing green lights, so I guess it was cool.
Oh, God.
Far Cry 4 was awesome. You got to watch The Division. You didn't get to play it, which is unfortunate, but The Division still looks super, super good. Like,
That's not
that
going to be
game's
out
gonna
for a
so
while.
good.
But
When
yeah.
they showed like the night and day cycle and like how weather changes and stuff like that, like it all looks super cool. Like that's, I don't know what more you could say about that game because everyone's probably seen like the trailers and previews a million times, but
Yeah.
it's getting better. They're working on like the underground segment of like New York City, so they have the street level, and now you can go underground into like the subway tunnels and stuff like that, which is just really cool. It adds an
Very
extra way
cool.
to like get around the giant map. The crew was there, which is just essentially stuff that we all played in the beta, except with the really, really high-end cars, like super, super high level, and it
Yeah,
was
that's, I don't
awesome.
know. My hype has died significantly for the crew.
Oh,
But, like,
not here.
because, well, I think part of it is because we only got like 3 cars, like in that. So you only got to do, you know, your Camaro or whatever the fuck it was, and that was it. And also, like, I am actually really down on the fact that the crews are only 4 people, but I suppose that lends itself to just getting a group together really quickly and going and doing stuff, which is also fine. But I was hoping they would be more like WoW guilds, you know? But
I think it's a byproduct from it being a console game as well. It's like 4 is like the optimum for console games as far as putting
Yeah.
together groups of people. So I think that's where it comes from. But yeah, it kind of sucks. And the same thing with when you're talking about like Camaros. Those were the cars that everyone got, like the early cars
yeah,
that like you got from that's the cars we all used, except like super modded up. That
Yeah.
thing handles like ass. The Camaro
Yeah, it's
is
terrible.
awful. No, at super high speeds, like you'd like hit the brake and then just immediately go and just like fishtail like every corner. You're like, oh, okay, this is really, really hard now.
you had that one mission with an Aston Martin. You had one mission with an Aston Martin in the beta, and it was like the greatest thing ever because it actually made corners and things like
And
like
it sounded
nothing-
really good.
and sounded really good. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you know, so I think I'm still gonna get it. It got delayed. For those that don't know, the crew got delayed till December, so is out even later.
Yeah, it's still looking to be really good. What was
you-
the other one Ubisoft had? Oh, they had Unity.
That was
That's
Unity.
right.
Did you play it, or was it?
No, they didn't let you play it. That would be silly.
That's
and it was
weird.
On a,
It's out so
it was
soon.
on an Xbox One, and they showed it off to us, and it looks kind of. I mean, it looks like an Assassin's Creed game. It looks like more Assassin's Creed. The detail they have on like inside of environments is really good, but I mean, it's on an Xbox One, and even then, like you climb to the top of this building, I'm like, the draw distance, it's so good. Look at like they get all the AI and everything really well, but like as far as like high detail, like around the entire map or a city. Also, the other jarring thing was no one sounds French for the French Revolution where it's set. Everyone's like American or British. And it was
Yeah,
just
that's
kinda
bad.
really-
Actually, that's
It was weirdly off-putting. I'm just like, why does no one? It's not even. They didn't even try a French accent. Like no one's even close.
that is
I'm like, isn't Ubisoft in Montreal? Like, come on.
yeah. Was Witcher 3 there? We have a somewhat question from
Yes,
chat.
The Witcher 3 was there. It wasn't playable. It was another thing. They walked you through a demo. It's a demo people have seen before, like the E3 one, where
Yeah,
the guy
yeah.
kills like a griffin and stuff like that. But it was on a. They had it there on a really nice PC, and it looks so good. Like it's disgustingly good looking. Like I
That's-
looked at that, and then I went outside I talked to one of their marketing guys, and I'm like, "How good will it run on PC?" He's like, "I don't know." I'm like, "If I go and buy a 980, will it run?" He's like, "Yeah, it probably." Like, like he didn't even know.
Oh,
He's
man.
like,
Yeah.
I assume it'll run." I'm like, "Oh, cool, awesome. That'll be great when that doesn't run the game at all."
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so good looking. It looks like the combat's a little like faster than.
It
The
looked
Witcher
better.
1
It
and
looked
2
a lot
was.
more smooth than
Yep.
just like
Smooth.
2-hit combo, sit there, 2-hit combo, sit there.
Yeah, smooth's the right word for it. You can definitely put together some pretty cool combos by the looks of it, and like chain some decent attacks together.
So you're also going to be going to PAX Australia, correct? Did you get media? I thought you got media. Yes, you did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wrote Matty a swagged out letter. I wrote the
Did you
best
ever?
letter. As his managing editor.
Yeah, it was super professional, and I was, and then just like, you have media. I was like, yes, it worked. Like, like I expected it to be like, because it was like 3 or 4 weeks before like submissions ended, I
Yeah.
expected to be like, "What is this shit?" and just like flick it off. But no, it's awesome.
So is that next week? Or is
No,
it
that's
2 weeks?
the end of the month. That's your Halloween weekend.
Oh, okay.
When I'll be down there doing that. But what else?
Alright, well, speaking of Assassin's Creed Unity, that sparked a lot of controversy this week, and what was one of the bigger news stories, and one of the worst. Ubisoft just continues to just hand PR to people who don't know what the fuck they're doing at all. Just no clue. They let people talk to the media, just like So, Assassin's Creed, I hope this video doesn't start playing. Don't start playing.
Hey guys,
God, it started playing.
playing.
God damn it. Anyway, Assassin's Creed Unity, they have announced, will be at 900p on both consoles and at 30 FPS to avoid flaming the fires of the console war. This is literally the reasoning.
I can't even
I feel
fathom.
so bad.
I can't even fathom, like...
Yeah, no, silence is actually the best answer, because it's just like you. So you put this out in a press release to not make waves.
I have no words. My words have failed me.
I feel so bad. I feel so bad every time this happens, because now I know people that like work at Ubisoft that do like their community manager, and I know every time that like the company like from up high makes a decision, all of them just go, "Oh no, we have to deal with this."
So that isn't the worst thing they said this week, though. So that was pretty bad. So the Assassin's Creed thing comes out, and people are like, "Oh my god, what the hell?" Of course, that's going to fan the flames between, PC. We don't really care. We can play it at whatever resolution we want. Ubisoft in the past, it's been hit and miss. Like Far Cry 3, for instance, great PC title, had all the options you could want, etc., etc. But then like Assassin's Creed 3 was terrible on PC. But then Black Flag was fantastic. Like it looked amazing, had all the options you could want. So they've been very hit and miss. They've come out and said, I think it was over this summer, it may have been a while before that even. We had it on the cast, but they said, basically, we're recommitted to the PC, blah, 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 blah. I think that was this year. I'm not sure, though. But anyway,
Year, I think.
let me see here. Nicholas Guerin, world-level design director on Assassin's Creed Unity, the decision to make Assassin's Creed at 30 FPS, and yes, you're going to hear this again, we had this at E3 with the Order 1886, was to make it a more cinematic feel. And that he thinks the 60 FPS standard for the industry will be gone, and it will be 30 FPS soon.
Technology is cyclical, so yeah, totally.
Oh, cute.
So here's what he said. At Ubisoft, for a long time, we wanted to push 60 FPS. I don't think it was a good idea, because you don't gain that much from 60 FPS, and it doesn't look like the real thing. It's a bit like the Hobbit movie. It looked really weird. And in other games, it's the same, like the Ratchet & Clank series where it was dropped. So I think collectively in the video game industry, we're dropping that standard because it's hard to achieve. It's twice as hard as 30 FPS, and it's not really that great in terms of rendering, quality of the picture, and the image. Have you played a video game, Nicholas?
Glad that guy can do math though. He's like 30 FPS is 60 FPS is twice as high as 30. It's like, good job, man. You're right.
Man, this guy really speaks logically.
I got to play the Order 1886 as well, and like I understand what
24,
they wanted.
At 24 FPS.
Yeah. I understand what they want from their cinematic feel. No, just
here's the thing, like where that argument breaks down is that movies, like things that you watch, are at a constant 24 FPS or a constant 29.9 FPS or like whatever it is, right? 30 FPS. They're constant. Games are not constant. They're not keeping that constant, that constant FPS, because different things come on the screen. Like the FPS will change a little bit, even if it's not that much. So because your FPS changes, it's the changing of FPS that is like the annoying part. And that's why you need 60, because if you keep 60 but you happen to drop down to 45, it's
you're
not
fine.
like you're fine. You still you could probably still notice it if you have like good eyes and you're kind of trained in what that looks like, but it's not that it's not that damaging to the experience. If you're at 30 FPS and you happen to drop to 25, that is noticeably worse.
Yeah, and there's places in games where you can, this guy like, and we've gone over this before. I can't believe we're in 2014 and we still have to fucking talk about this. Like, it's ridiculous to me because it's not about what the eye is seeing. It is not about that. It is about the feel in a game. I'm not playing The Hobbit when I watch that movie, okay? Maybe 60 FPS does look weird in a movie, or 48 FPS, whatever it was at in theaters. But that's not the point. The point
That's a different
is
medium. That is like it is fundamentally a different medium.
It's not the same. If I am playing a video game, and for instance, thank you for bringing it up in chat. I was about to bring it up myself. In Dark Souls 1, if you played Dark Souls 1 on a console, I was warned many times before I played the PC version by Rick Leslie, who's in game development. He's like, dude, wait till you get to Blighttown. Half the hard part of Blighttown is that it drops to like 12 FPS. Because it did on consoles, and it made it way harder. Because playing Dark Souls at 12 FPS is definitely way shittier than playing it at 30. Like, it's not even close. So, you would feel that difference in gameplay. When you get frame slowdown on a game, I just don't understand what this guy, like, is... Why he's a game designer. He is a game designer on one of the biggest titles of the year. And does not understand the advantage of high FPS. It's not about...
Well, either he does, like, I feel like, I just get the sense that these people, that there is some alternate agenda at play. Because you can't, like, I feel like you can't actually think this. If you're in game development and you're dealing with games all the time, you can't actually think these kinds of things. And especially when the debate here is centering around Assassin's Creed, which had their senior producer, talking about how like they're both locked at 900p. Okay, well, even if 30 FPS was like your choice because you want it to be more cinematic, 900p objectively looks worse than 1080p. Like, all else being equal, that is not a cinematic choice. Your game just looks worse than it could at a higher resolution. Now, maybe some people won't notice, but like you can't argue that. That's why, like, I don't believe any of it because because you have two things at play that are like clearly choices they made. Maybe it's because of the power of the system or what. Like, I just don't believe that if you were able to get it to 1080p 60 that you wouldn't.
Yeah.
So, as Jim Sterling said, if you guys don't know who Jim Sterling was, he was previously at Destructoid. Now he works for The Escapist, I believe. He does more freelance for himself though now, I think. But he tweeted the other day, he is a beast. He says whatever the fuck he wants to. If you want someone whose mind is pretty much completely open on all things video games, follow him on Twitter.
Zero fucks given.
He basically said, I will take another 30 FPS over having 10 bodies in a crowd I don't give a fuck about. So basically he's saying, like, yeah, the crowd density is impressive, but I don't care. It's got nothing to do with me playing that game. Like, it really doesn't. If I'm having to execute some jump, and it's very hard to do because it dips down to 12 FPS when I'm trying to do this parkour section, like, that sucks. That sucks, and it's not worth putting those extra people in there. Like, it's just not.
He's right too, because like whenever you look at the game or you see footage of it or you see it played, it's like, look, they even say it. They're like, look, we have like 300, 500 people in this crowd now. I'm like, that's great. Why do they all look like crap?
Yeah,
like,
it's not like they all look great.
Them. Yeah, you can have them all, but they don't add that much, really, like, to your atmosphere of your game, rather than making it look a little prettier. If they wanted to make it that cinematic and they really want a cinematic feel, then they should go and make a movie. And like, they'd find someone who actually wants to make a video game, and then they can make a video game, not trying to make something like cinematic.
I understand. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I understand if that's some artistic choice that you're making, like, fine. So you decide to make 30 FPS your target, and maybe that does allow you to do more, like, than you would be able to do if you were targeting 60 instead. But that's a choice they're making, and saying something like having one of their people say. The direct quote, assuming this IGN article is correct, the direct quote, it actually feels better for people when it's at that 30 FPS. That you can't say that. That's a judgment call. That is a subjective statement. It doesn't feel better for everyone. like it for most people would feel worse, even if some people don't notice it. Like it is objectively worse than 60. So.
Right.
Like, I get it. Just take ownership of what you're doing. Say that, look, we decided to make 30 FPS the target. We're going for a cinematic experience. Like, here are we know that some people like 60 instead, but this is the direction we're going with the game, and it allows us to do all of these other things that we wouldn't be able to do if we had a 60 FPS target. Like, people will understand that. But just saying that, no, really, it feels better at 30 FPS, it's not true. That's like, it's not true.
Yeah.
If anything, people would at least appreciate the candor, even if they don't agree with it. Like a lot of people will be like, "Well, I don't care. Give me a 60 FPS game," but they'll at least appreciate the fact that you're being real with them. This does not feel real. This feels like blatant lies to me. This just feels like bullshit.
It's because it is blatant lies. It's just really transparent, blatant lies.
It's like you're not giving any examples for why you did this. You're just saying that this is what's best for you. Like, people don't like that because you're not giving a reason for why you made the experience worse than like your competitor, like your competing games have made their experience. Clearly, 1080p 60 FPS is like the standard that a lot of games are trying for, and rightfully so.
For instance,
like 900p 30 on next gen systems.
Yourself,
like,
basically.
tell me why.
Didn't even know 900p was
necessary.
It's not a standard. That's the thing. It's just not.
Yeah, what the hell's 900p? Like, I've never even heard of. Like, seems like such an obscure resolution to put it at.
It's like, just put it at 720p at that point. Like, just at least get the scale correctly. Like, but like, for instance,
I feel like they would get less flack doing 720p 60.
Yeah, they would.
because
they would.
Then like, at least people couldn't make the argument that like you're not gonna have a smooth experience or whatever. Then they could say like, listen, we know it's not 1080p, but this game plays like butter. It's gonna be like the most amazing Assassin's Creed you've ever felt. Like that would. I don't get it. I just really don't get these explanations.
Like, for instance, when the Crew beta, when it was locked at 30, I didn't really care, but that's because I'm on a PC where it's not going to drop. As you said earlier, it's not dropping from 30. Plus, it's in 1080p. So, I'm getting high resolution. I'm getting a constant FPS, and the game feels fine. Would I rather have it at 60? Yes. So I definitely did the fix, But I played it at both, and it was fine. For instance, NHL 15 is at 1080p 60 FPS. The graphics, they don't look really much better than 14. The On Ice sort of does, but the fact that it's at 1080p and 60 FPS is enough for me. Like, it doesn't have to look fantastic. The feel is great, as far as that goes. So, luckily though, we all play on PC here, so we don't have to worry about games being locked in 900p. And
we got options.
Modder Durante, who we've already mentioned multiple times in the cast tonight, did an article, an editorial for PC Gamer, basically to clear up what PC gamers want in a game options-wise, what we want in a game as far as customization and modding, and what it takes for devs to do that kind of thing as well. That's what I really liked in this article, was that he also broke down, well, here's the development time it would take to actually implement this. So if they don't have this, for instance, then you can give them, don't give them flack over that.
What a swell guy.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. Like, he's like, let modders do that because, a big thing to him was like UI elements. If the game doesn't have scalable UI elements, like, a lot of the stuff you want is gonna fuck that up. But then he says, developers, please make scalable UI elements in all your games. But you should go through this article if you're confused onto what things you actually might want in games. If you're newer to PC gaming, you may want to check this just to know what options are important if you're coming from the console, because you don't have the option to change any of these where you came from, which is ridiculous.
It sounds so definitive. You don't have the options.
They don't
let you have them.
You don't. All you can do is adjust audio in console games 99% of the time.
Come to us, console gamers. We will set you free. We will give you options.
So some of the stuff that he says are essentials. Essential features: arbitrary resolution, of course. And I would say that 90% of games on the PC, even if it's a port, come with the ability to change the resolution. Even if the textures don't change with it, for instance, Dark Souls, you can, at least you can play it at the native resolution of your monitor. Variable frame rates. This one is not in a high percentage of games, actually, at least ports. And that's why we started doing the port report on KBMOD. AJ's going to do the majority of them. I'll do some as well. I'm probably going to be the one doing the Evil Within. It's going to be rough. I think it's probably going to be terrible on PC. But we'll see. It's locked at 30 FPS, cinematic letterbox, whatever that means.
Yeah.
So I'll be doing launch night for that on Tuesday if you want to come see me shit myself.
Oh, dude, you're gonna hate it. You're gonna hate
terrifying.
that. It's so terrifying. Just don't. Why would you do that to yourself? That's an awful idea.
I love Resident Evil 1, same creator. So
it's a lot like Resident Evil 1. So yeah, enjoy.
Good.
Great time.
So variable frame rate, that's another essential. Input remapping. This one is underrated. This one should be on every console game too, in my opinion. Especially for people with handicaps or disabilities. And it's been pushed for a lot.
No response.
Not much of a response, you're correct. For remapping for people, who have problems with their hands or have no hands, or, guys like Broly Legs. Dude plays with his mouth in Street Fighter, but he can remap all the buttons, which enable him to do so. All that stuff, that to me is almost like I should be able to do toggle crouch or toggle in any FPS, any of them. I should have the ability to do toggle crouch or toggle aim down sight. If that's not in there, like, what are you doing?
It's kind of the finer points of this that I think are really useful, even for, people like development teams that are developing for PC first. Some of the most frustrating things in PC games are like these points here, allowing for more than a single key to be mapped for each action, and mapping like the unusual mouse buttons. I can't tell you the number of times that I have had to deal with that. Like, oh, I can't bind this to mouse 3 or mouse 5.
Yeah.
When I have all of these buttons on my mouse, and that is where my right hand is the entire time, but I can't put them on a game. And it's like input remapping. You have to think about those kinds of things.
So I fully admit that until World of Warcraft, I didn't really think about that feature too much. But then once WoW came around and I got into it a bunch, I had to map everything. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like I had to do.
Yep.
I had to have everything. Shift 1 2 3 4, like Control Q, like all these strange binds that I would never use in any other game. But then once that became muscle memory, it was like I still go back now. Like I took 2 years basically off of that game, came back and knew all my mappings right away. Like
I could tell you all my road
knew what they were
mappings right now.
Yeah. So that is 100% something that should be in every game. Unless, there's a few games like Brothers, Tale of Two Sons, where you have to have a controller to play it, because that's just how the game was designed, quite literally. It was designed with twin sticks. But then he goes down a list of important features. Field of view and aspect ratio, of course. FOV should be in any first-person game. Not really necessarily.
I actually think I would put FOV as an essential feature.
I also would too, knowing the amount of people that get sick with
even in some
65 or 50. Sometimes
yeah,
50.
just like people playing on dual or triple monitors, and I mean just because of the different setups, like there are legit needs for changing your FOV, even if it's not a preference thing, like just getting the game playable.
Yeah, so I think FOV, I would also put it in that. He also has in this one a scalable user interface. That one, once again, would depend on the game. That's the part of the article where he talks about HUD elements and the resizing of those. Graphics options. This one, a lot of people may. I fall in the middle on this. I'm not so hardcore about having every single little one in every single game. Because frankly, a lot of those in a lot of games don't really change much for you in the experience of playing the game. A big one that should be in every game, at least from my experience in the past, shadow quality. Shadow quality tends to degrade performance so much if it's on high or if it's not changeable. where like in WoW back in the day, another example, you had shadows up all the way, it tanked your game on old hardware. But if you turned it off, boom, like triple the FPS. But I'm sort of in the middle on graphics options. I think some games maybe
like,
you should.
I think there's like a right way to do it, which is don't have the graphics options tab and then have 50 different options and no explanation of what they do, like just a phrase that hopefully people understand. Where I fall in this, and I care a lot about having very detailed advanced options, but I think the right way to do that is like put the really granular stuff behind an advanced tab, right? So that someone can go to that graphics tab. You have your screen resolution, low, medium, and high for like the basic stuff, like you're talking about shadow quality, that someone doesn't need an explanation for. Like what that means. It means the shadows in the game are going to look better.
Right.
But like there are some the one thing that I actually think is super confusing to a lot of people, even me, is anti-aliasing.
It's like important. 7 different types.
It's important, but yeah, there's different types, there's different numbers. Like that's a good example of something that is actually in the graphics options for a lot of games, and no one knows what it means.
So what anti-aliasing does is basically smooths edges, but I don't know what the different types do or how they work.
I have to go look up the different types, and that's something that I feel like the key to graphics options is explanations. So when you have something like, have a hover over tooltip or something that tells you what that's going to do, and that's the way to make graphics options work for people that aren't PC nerds.
I remember I saw HBAO or HBAO in Battlefield Bad Company 2 for the first time. I was like, what the fuck is that? I'd never seen that option before, ever. Brandon was like, turn it off, dude. It's just going to tank your FPS, which it did, but at the time.
You know who does it really well, and it's an unoptimized mess half of the time, but the Armor games do exactly what Brandon is talking about. They have your graphics options and all the basic stuff, and then advanced, and it's a huge list of options, and you mouse over it, and it tells you exactly what each thing's going to do. In Armor 3, it actually shows your FPS, so as you move it, it'll show you how much it raises or lowers your frames. Like,
That's
Armor
awesome.
3 does it. It does it really, really well.
Yeah, I think stuff like that, showing the impact, like the estimated impact it'll have on your performance, that's the way to make it accessible, where someone can choose the options that are important to them and see an estimate of like, here's what your average FPS would be. Here's like, we think, Arma's a great example. Like if you turn everything on high, well, basically the estimated FPS should probably always be somewhere between 15 and 20.
About 2 frames per second, everything on high. About 2 frames.
Yeah. So, then he has this article, furthermore, broken down. You should read it. Especially if you're new to PC, I think you should read it. But even if you're not, you should read it just to know a little bit about
It's a good primer for the kinds of things that you can get from a PC game. Like coming from a console game, the point of the article is like, here are the things that are important to PC gamers that console gamers like might not understand or be aware of.
Yeah. So enthusiast features, and I actually agree with the majority of these, although a lot of us feel that modding should be in every game. But that's a lot to expect sometimes. He's got some really specific stuff to getting really good screenshots in this part, like free camera, time stop, hiding the HUD. I love that WoW just had hiding the HUD from day one. It was just like, if you want to take pretty screenshots of our world, hit Control-Z, and your HUD will go away, and like, boom, there it is. You can take nice screenshots.
That's one of those features that you don't think about, but that kind of stuff does help build the community around games. It helps build, cool machinima. Like that kind of stuff is super important. That's why I love this article so much, because this is the kind of stuff that me as a consumer, I don't necessarily think about the reasons that I love a certain game for like its PC support, but like that's a great example. Just like being able to hide your HUD, being able to take a cool screenshot, like that kind of stuff doesn't matter to 90% of people, but the people that it does matter to are the ones who will generate like all this awesome community content for your game. Like you never know the value of the things you don't put in the game.
And modding, obviously, if you've paid attention to this podcast for any length of time, we fucking love mods here. We love them.
Yep.
Games like
Too much.
Skyrim are going to last so long. That's the best. It's
Dan.
probably the best known example because
Please, Dan. Don't
it
do
had Steam Workshop so quick into its life and a good modding API right away that it just took off. Like, it was just there was a PC Gamer article, for instance, where they just found 200 random mods and turned them on, and then did a series of articles about playing through the game with these 200 random mods.
They got 200 mods on at the same time. That's impressive.
They said
My
it didn't
doesn't get to 200
I mean, it worked a little. They said like tons
for
of
10
crashes
minutes before it
obviously.
crashed. Yeah.
So
The worst thing is with Skyrim. You get
Yeah,
you download all
Minecraft.
the mods you want.
Minecraft, another great example. That game, although it would have probably lasted a very long time anyway, just due to the nature of Minecraft, but that game, mods breathe new life, you know, into. There's so many communities built just around certain mods in Minecraft. So, I mean, but modding, I totally think sometimes is just not going to be possible. I think that I'm starting to become more on the side of, with online FPSs that want to be somewhat competitive, they shouldn't really allow that much freedom because there's too much that can be done as far as cheating and various other things mod-wise. I think CS toes the line really well, CSGO, by having all, you know, you can do whatever you want to your server, but you're not necessarily modding the game. So, I mean, COD 4 has a lot of stuff, but...
But by that same token, you look at, I mean, things like Battlefield, you had Desert Combat, you've had some really similar
Project
mods
Reality.
come to FPS games. I just think like I think it's harder to make mods work in this day and age. Like I think if you're gonna make a game, you should. I mean, obviously, I like modding support. I would love every game to have modding support. But when you put modding, like if you're gonna support mods, you should think about how that could add to your game.
Yeah.
And think about like have kind of a strategy around that. And I feel like Skyrim is again the best example of that. Is like they had an idea for the ways that could change Skyrim, and the community has obviously run with it like crazy.
So there you go. Check out the Durante article. This was a damn good discussion. Check out Ubisoft's missteps as well. We'll have links to it on the audio. They just need to keep their mouth shut.
They really do.
But
Poor bastard.
because I think
You keep fucking up.
Unity will probably be a decent game. That's the thing. Like,
But stop fucking up.
yeah, just quit it.
You keep fucking up.
Like I said, all the community managers know about it. You talk about it, it's like, hey, have you read this? They're like, yeah, we know. Like that's the tone. It's just like,
Damn
oh,
it,
God.
Dave at corporate. Like, it's just
Sorry.
like,
Yeah, pretty much. The asshole Steve. Fucking hate that guy.
some quick
Like
news.
the one other thing
go
I
ahead.
would say about that is there's a really good point at the end of the article about enthusiast level features. Put them somewhere. They can be in a config file. They can be in an advanced menu. They just have them somewhere. I think like the worst examples of ports are when you see like Dark Souls, for example. You know,
Yes.
someone has to download a program and like run an executable to try and make the game work right.
Literally, it's not unplayable without DS fix, but it's damn near close. It's like, it's pretty bad.
But like there are a lot of games. I mean, like, you know, Call of Duty is a decent example that they're very hamstrung in the PC features they offer, but there are some things that are at least available in a config menu. Like that's not a very friendly place to put it. Obviously, putting it somewhere in the options and like officially supported is good, but at least have that stuff somewhere where people that are having issues or want to change it can change it. But like if you don't put it anywhere, if it's, you know, in the binaries and like you can't get to that stuff, then people will have to like people either hate your game, like the noobs, the people that can't figure it out and aren't technically savvy, will just like really regret their purchase, and the enthusiasts who are able to get around it will just resent you.
Yeah. So, quick notes from the news. This is some sad news because everyone is hyped for this game. Hotline Miami 2 has been delayed until very late in 2014 or early 2015. Hotline Miami's fucking great. So, looking forward to more Hotline Miami. Like,
And
it
the
does
soundtrack, though. The soundtrack, though.
Yes.
I'm almost more stoked for the soundtrack than I am for the game. I'm like, oh, I just want the music. Can I just have that, please? Just release that early?
Yeah. So
I'm not sad.
unfortunately,
It'll be better.
it'll probably be a better game for it. So, they know what they're doing over there. So, Brandon, you put this one in here. I did watch this.
Yeah. They've Killing Floor 2. We've been talking about a little bit, and they released a dev diary video this past week talking about their updated gore system. And like, if you've played Killing Floor, you know that the gore is like one of the best things about that game.
Yeah.
Just in how explicit it is, the slow motion stuff, like it's really well done. And so in the video they talk about and they show some examples of their new system has like 20, I think it's like 22 different points at which, you know, like the body can come
Limbs
apart.
can come apart. Yeah.
Oh,
And,
man. Okay.
And like if you shoot a bullet and then you shoot another one, the animations will react. You know, like the first animation will start and will meld with the second animation. So it's like they're definitely going for a lot of realism around the ways that, you know, you're killing all the zombies. And like the gameplay footage they show just looks so good. Like it looks like it's going to be such a good successor.
It's
to
in
that
Unreal
original.
4 for those that don't know as well. And they show this example where they just have a Zed sitting in front of like a wall, and they have the dude shoot it in the face, and the skin comes off first. Like the skin comes off first. They have this like program, so like the skin comes off first, revealing skull, and the thing is still moving, like towards him, and then he shoots it again, and the head pops. But it's like little things like that. It's just like they have it so like that, and the skin they said, well, like it's not like, you know, it's just going to be half his face or something like every time. It might be like, you know, the right side eyeball part flies off, like, you know, they have. It's going to be just a bunch of different animations for the gore. Also, if you don't know how Killing Floor works, you face, I think it's 6 waves or something like that in a normal game. And then you fight a boss at the end. There's going to be more, you know, it'll be a similar structure that way, but the gore from the first wave, like, goes away each wave in Killing Floor 1. So, like, all the bodies that were there are, like, gone. You know, when Wave 2 starts, it kind of like resets the level a little bit. This time, corpses, blood, organs, everything will stay. They have a system where the textures will paint over themselves in real time, and like, so, you know, if you made a massive blood pool from something, it will still be there, and it will like dry over time on the waves. Like,
Oh my god.
it's fucking
I'm not desensitized enough
crazy.
to this yet, man. I'm
Yeah.
not desensitized enough to this.
The grenade
that
footage
sounds
was
a
the
little bit
best.
much.
The grenade footage was the best, dude.
God.
I have never seen more limbs flying around in a game than that when that grenade hits.
This is what it's all been for. This is what we've been leading up to since Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Since Mortal Kombat invented the M rating.
Oh, I saw the new Mortal Kombat over the week. I totally forgot to talk about that. Holy crap, is that gory? Jesus.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
my-
coming out on PC, by the way, the same day it comes out for console,
Yep.
April 14th next year.
Kano's fatality, where he just takes his knife and just goes across their torso, and you just watch their organs like fall out of them. It's just, oh man, that's really visceral. Like, I was playing it as it's happening, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's a little bit much. Okay, all right, sure, cool.
Like, you're
I
all
guess.
about it at first, and then you're like, oh, I didn't bargain
Yeah,
for
you
this.
want to do the fatality. You're like, yes, yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, okay then. Wow. Alrighty then. Oh, you melted their face too, and then they just. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. All right. I guess I won.
So,
Like,
with Killing Floor 2, Nick Fenton, who isn't here to talk about this, he brought up a point in Slack this week. He was like, man, that's going to be interesting to see. Like, I would assume there will be options to turn up or down the gore system, because
Some people's
he was
computers
like, some people's computers are not going to be able to handle these models. Like, they're just not.
They'll definitely have. I mean, like we were just talking about, they'll have options probably to turn all of it off. I would imagine, just because it seems like if they do it right, the top level settings will be kind of beefy.
Well, and their
because
tripwire is very good with PC, of course. Like, and this is only coming out on PC, so.
Yeah, the one thing about the video that if you've been gaming for a while, you might remember the Soldier of Fortune games. They reference back to those games as kind of an influence in the way they're building this system, which I remember playing Soldier of Fortune 2, and it had, I mean, for how old that game is, it had kind of these types of systems where, like, you can shoot someone when they're already dead, and, like, you shoot limbs off their body and stuff. Like, it just sounds so good. Like, that's exactly what Killing Floor is.
Yeah.
And it's like the way that you make Killing Floor better is just like lean into that even harder.
Yeah.
Yeah. They said the first thing we thought about was how can we make this game more gory? It's like like we did it a little bit, but it wasn't quite there.
I wonder if they'll go too far. Like, I wonder if they'll get to the point
No,
where it's too.
I don't know if there is too far with zombies.
I don't think there's
crazy
too far.
violent Americans. Okay, all right. So, never mind.
It wasn't. Hey, they're a UK company, man.
You're the one into it. Yeah, no, it'll be fine. Yeah, give me the gore.
But AMD fired back finally at NVIDIA for the 970 and 980. Not with new cards though, but we knew this was going to happen at some point once the 970 and 980 got announced. They have dropped prices on the 290 and 290X, which are both very, very solid cards. They're close. The 290X is close to the 970 and 980. And in some games it's a little better. But the 290X is now going to be $400. It was $550. And the 290 is going to be $299, which actually makes it a very interesting card for budget systems. It's better than a 7970 was. It used to be a $400 card, so I think if you were debating on like a 770 versus this, I would get the 290 at this price point, $300. I mean, that's a great price. But for $50 more, you can get a 970. So it's kind of like
I think they're gonna have to push new cards or like make these even cheaper. Yeah. Because people want the new hotness, and the 970 is still a great deal even with these new price drops.
And
also
go ahead.
To anyone in my part of the world, don't worry about those price drops because it'll still be $500 here. Woohoo!
Only 500?
Yeah.
A 980 is the 980 from I saw Asus people, and I'm like, so the new 980. They're like, how much is that? And they quoted me the US price. I'm like, yeah, but what's the upside down tax on that? They're like, yeah, that's gonna be like $800 and something here. I'm like, oh, sweet,
Jesus
cool,
Christ.
Awesome, love it here.
You keep trying to get me to go there.
Even more interesting though on these price drops.
So you can buy hardware here.
I didn't even look at the bottom of this article, to be honest. I just looked for the price drops for those two cards. The 280X, which is a 7970, is going to be dropping as low as $230. That's actually a real good budget buy there. I have a 7970 and it runs pretty much everything at high or ultra without breaking a sweat. Everything that's out right now. Like 220 for a 280X?
Well, the thing is, they have to get in front of the inevitable launch of the 950, 960, 960 Ti.
Yeah.
So, like that's easily coming
Ti.
within the next 3 months, right? So
yeah.
AMD will be smart to get in front of it and try to keep that budget crown.
I'm telling you, Brandon, though, if this 280X, like, if you can get a 7970 and $800 build, like, which looks possible,
definitely.
Like, that's crazy. I
just don't, like, for AMD's sake, I hope that they do make those changes before, like, NVIDIA is going to launch those lower end cards once the yield gets up. You know they're going to. So how long does that remain a good budget buy when NVIDIA is going to come out with a new card that's probably going to be at that same price?
Yeah. So, new releases this week. There's actually quite a bit. We're getting into that season. We said this last week. Every week is going to have big releases. Tuesday, Borderlands, the pre-sequel. If you're into Borderlands, you probably already have this ordered because it's just more Borderlands. Like,
Gearbox gave it to me for free.
Yes.
Because I went to their panel.
It's awesome. It's just more Borderlands. It really is.
Yeah, if you're into that shit, you can't go wrong with more Borderlands.
Yeah, it's so good. Oh, it's the greatest.
So, also The Evil Within, Rip Me, Tuesday night. We'll be playing that on this channel. How long I stay playing that, we'll see. But But yeah, Evil Within, I already purchased it, so we'll be playing it Tuesday night. Wednesday, for those of you who like the indie side of things, and also a game that was quite good by all accounts, Legend of Grimrock 2 comes out Wednesday. Legend of Grimrock 1 was a pretty huge indie hit. It's one of the procedurally generated dungeon crawler, and by crawler I mean the old school type of game where you look at the room and you can go right or left and issue commands. Very old school, but cool if you like that kind of thing. Thursday, October 16th, Harmonix 2D Contra type shmup game, A City Sleeps, comes out. I've heard nothing but good things about this. Joe Rod and a few other community people played it at Prime, I believe, and they're super hyped for this game. Very cool art style. So A City Sleeps comes out October 16th. I think it's either $15 or $20, so it's not that expensive. Friday, October 17th, F1 4012 comes... No, 2014. I definitely typoed the shit out of that. F1 2014 comes out.
2012, yeah.
And Fear Online, which I didn't even know there was a new Fear game coming, but apparently there is. So that's out
Yeah,
Friday.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
So,
Until I saw the doc. I'm like, oh, cool.
It's probably terrible. I'm just going to say that right now. It's probably bad. Fear 3 is really bad, so...
Might be game of the year. You don't know. Could be great.
So...
I almost got through it with a straight face. Almost. I was close.
All right, we're
Good
gonna
effort, though.
we're gonna run a quick commercial break here, guys, and then we'll be back with some viewer questions, including a visual puzzle to start things off. We'll be back in 90 seconds.
Oh, thank God, I need water so badly. Holy crap.
Just have your kangaroo bring it to you. Oh, his headset's already off.
Oh, I thought he was coming back to say fuck you.
He definitely took off. Shout outs to Matt though. He took off work to be on this thing tonight.
And originally he was only going to have a segment.
Originally he was only gonna have the segment about.
He was going to be on for like 15 minutes and leave.
And then none of these motherfuckers showed up to the podcast, so I was like, yeah, fuck it.
Well, I mean, if he took off work, the least we can do is let him stay around.
True.
Yep.
I like that he didn't even bother cleaning up his couch, though, for the stream.
APL doesn't even use his cam, so give Matt credit.
Yeah.
That's true. He's a good-looking guy, too.
Matt's accent is fake. He's a fake.
Just like fucking starving. I ate all of my food. I'm like down to just about ramen.
What's
I was
up,
gonna
Linz?
go food shopping today, and then I just didn't feel like it.
Why do you need anything more than ramen, though?
Because I want to live past like 50.
I have to say, this is random. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead on
No, I
your
was just
run.
going to say, I mean, like, seems unlikely you're going to live past 50 anyway, so you might as well just lean into that.
Just lean into
fast
that
and dangerous
inevitable
lifestyle
death.
I live.
God. So we went to the Extra Life place today. We did a little short test stream, but we got a lot of the nitty-gritty stuff, behind-the-scenes stuff working. Thank God we can use the freight elevators. We're just going to come... It's going to be the greatest looking thing on Friday, because we're just going to have on like a dolly, like a big dolly, like 15 PC towers. Just like all different shapes and sizes going up in this elevator. But yeah, the internet is totally solid, and like we got all that figured out today. Very, very excited. Remember, guys, October 24th through the 26th. And in like a week and a half, everybody's going to start showing up here, and then I'll get real nervous and busy at that point. So
I'm quite upset I'm not going to be able to make it.
you'll be doing a strem, though. You'll be doing a
I will.
strem. So
Don't worry about that.
So, viewer questions. This first one has a picture accompanying it. I don't know if we have a link to this picture. Do we have a link where we got this? I don't.
I don't even know where it came
Okay,
from.
thank you, Brandon.
Yeah.
Brandon has linked it in chat. So this is from Katie Zen. Katie Zen. And it stars APL and Brandon. And APL Fisher asks, "Hey, Barndon, can I work at Tywitch.
Huge.
Tywitch?
Huge.
And Brandon responds, no, you can work me dick. Spelled D-I-K, which gets me so bad for some reason. Just destroys APL Fisher.
It's mean, Brendan. What'd you do that for?
You then laughs
Too
at
far.
him hysterically.
Yeah.
On the
Presumably at his
podcast, he
pain.
laughs at him.
You had a wonderful zoom in on Scott's sad face, which is pretty great.
You can work me dick. Oh, I'm just gonna tweet that right now.
Daniel, stop, please.
You
Some of his
can
greatest work, truly.
work me dick.
So, do we need to answer that question, or has Brandon already answered?
No,
it? Or-
Brandon
I feel
answered it,
Brandon's
clearly.
already answered that question.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's answer.
Yeah.
I think that's the answer we all would have given Scott, though. We were in
Yeah.
that
Oh,
position.
Yeah, asked and answered.
Almost certainly, yeah. Except I would have said mate at the end, but that's about it.
All right. First question from second question, I guess, from K-pop or die. Asks, hey bros, with Extra Life just around the corner, what was your favorite memory from Extra Life streams? Can't wait to donate lots of money. We can't wait for you to donate lots of money.
Yeah.
Man, there have been many.
Post-stream burgatory every time.
Stream purgatory every time.
I'm gonna weep while I think of those burgers this year.
I gotta think. There was one of my favorite moments. We talked about this today when we were setting up. One of my favorite moments that isn't anywhere, like we don't have it anywhere, unfortunately, was the first Extra Life, where we weren't landing. We were all just on like a Skype call or something for the entire thing, and Brandon and I played Portal 2 co-op, and we played it though like. I forget whether it was super late at night or if we'd just been up forever.
No. We had stayed up. We'd stayed up the whole time, and this was in the afternoon. So there were maybe like I want to say like 5 or 6 hours left.
Yeah. So we did all right. And then we got to like the second or third to last puzzle. It was near the end. And we just could not do it. Like our mental state was such that we were just too tired to pull through. And there was a point at which during the puzzle where we just sat there, like we were inanimate for like 20 minutes. Like we weren't asleep, but we were just like, I got nothing, dude.
Like chat was getting so mad.
Yeah. Chat.
It started out, I think for chat, or like the people watching, it started out as funny, like they're tired, you know, they're not gonna figure it out. And then people were just becoming upset. They were like, no, seriously, it's not this hard. And you should have figured it out by now. Let's move on.
Yeah, and we were just like, I can't see anything right now. I can't think with portals. I got nothing left in the tank, boys. It was like, it was so bad. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, that's a good one. Brink last year was good.
Mine was in the chat. Mine was the Scott and Nick doing the PewDiePie and his girlfriend, and this is my real singing voice, and I'm actually a pterodactyl, and I put the video. It gets me every time. Like I still watch that video, and it still gets me. So yeah.
I think the kick dive tournament that I commentated.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
yes.
that was good.
Your commentary was everything was sponsored by something. Like everything, literally.
We had so many sponsors for that tournament.
Oh my god, dude.
Insane.
None of them were real. It was great.
No. Not a single one.
That was really good. I remember that. That was great.
Nick Fenton getting bopped by Joe Rod's Seth or whatever the character's name is in that game. I'm blanking on right now.
Isn't Seth the random one?
Joe Rod.
The teleporting guy. I forget the name of the character in the game. But Joe Rod just annihilate. Nick Fenton had match point 5 times and whiffed on all of, like, just fucked up every single one of them. But yeah, that was so hype. Dan Cakes was good. Dan Cakes was good.
Dan Cake's always a classic.
We'll do it again this year. If we have to.
Please. That'd be great.
Maybe we'll do chili on my head.
Oh god.
Oh, please. Just Tabasco sauce all over your head? Yes. That'd be fantastic. I don't know what you'd eat with it.
I forgot. Chez and Mike.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was pretty good.
Yeah. The Batman kiss.
Immortalized.
That was
Oh,
good.
Batman! I forgot about Batman.
That was good. Brandon, you enjoyed that? You enjoyed that a lot? Good? You liked that one? You really liked it when they kissed?
Oh,
I just like watching the GIF.
The GIF is super.
You really like
few
watching it?
seconds I get to see it again.
I love
How
how they
often do you watch
get to close, right? They get to close, and then like they're both kind of like for a split second, they're both kind of like, I don't know if I want to
pull
fucking
off.
They
do
get
this.
worried, yeah. You can see it. You see the trepidation, and then they just go for it.
Yeah.
Two lovers finally brought together across the
Beautiful
country. It's
realization.
beautiful. It's a beautiful moment.
But on a serious note, for those that don't know, the team is already at $126,000 raised.
What?
Yes, yeah. Mindcrack did fucking work already. So
News to me. Jesus Christ.
yeah, so the goal is 200K this year, so you got to help us get there. We have, of course, 2 Newegg PCs, including one which has been linked. If you haven't seen it, it's a white-themed build. They have a white video card, which...
It's racist.
Yeah, it's a racist build, is what I'm saying.
It's really racist.
But it's actually fantastic looking in the case. They also have one with a Rosewood case, which looks phenomenal. They both have, I think one has a 760 in it, the other has a 770. They both have i7s. One has, I think, an Ivy Bridge, and the other has a Haswell, but don't quote me on that. And then we also, of course, have the Wii U that will be given away. So...
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Wii U with
Okay, like-
4
okay.
controllers and 2 games. So it's about a $500 or $600 value if you win
KBMOD
that one.
breaking new ground. Cool.
Hey, it's the only console that does 1080p 60 FPS.
Yes, it is. The only new generation console I want to own. Especially after Blacklight's review of it all those years
Yeah.
ago. The best review.
It's just good.
I remember that.
We've been watching old Blacklight Extra Life hype videos. This
Oh
past
my
week.
god, last year was so good though. How do you top that, dude? How
Like
are you
they
gonna
always
even come
say,
close to that?
you can take the crime out
Not
of
even
Philly,
gonna try.
but no, you can't.
No, you can't.
But yeah, thank you for the question. October 24th through the 26th, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern, when the LAN will start, going all the way to noon on Sunday. So we're going to have a donation desk and all kinds of professional things that we did not have before. So, all right, next question from @the Saint Jimmy. If you could have one non-music performance at the Super Bowl, what would it be? I have one in mind here. And
Cake farts.
Oh
Cake
no.
farts.
Have you not seen cake farts?
No, I haven't.
It's literally a woman who takes her pants off and then sits on a cake and then she starts farting.
Yep, that's pretty much exactly what happens.
She's like not attractive and like
Nope.
Oh,
it's like
my
really
God.
thick chocolate frosting. It all sticks to her butt cheeks. It's fucking great.
Jesus.
She can fart on command.
I want the vagina monologues performed live at halftime of
It's
the
just like
Super
everybody's so uncomfortable because football's such like a manly sport.
Yeah. Just
All these
drunk
dudes are
Americans
just, gonna be like,
just
the fuck is this?
upset as hell. Cake farts is unreal from Broom Sweeper.
Just
Confirmed.
Unreal.
Professional athletes watch cake farts.
I think he's more not. Oh, it is unreal. I did miss the word.
Yeah,
It is.
no,
I
he's
thought he
seen
was
it.
just saying unreal. Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have the vagina
I
monologues.
don't even know what I would want. Non-musical? I want a NASCAR race. Just in the middle of a
Just a
halftime.
straight up NASCAR
start-
race.
Start
Just
NASCAR.
annihilates the field.
Just like press.
Unplayable field, I guess.
That's what I want. I want a NASCAR race. They have to do the whole thing. They could just drift it, I guess. They could just go around like sideways, yelling like
Left
power. I don't know.
sometimes.
Have Jeremy Clarkson do it, yell power the whole time as he slides something.
Power! Yeah, just go
Yeah,
around.
that's what I want. I just want a NASCAR race for the halftime show.
Civil War reenactments. That's a good one.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
I would have the vape sensei come out and do some
Oh,
tricks
no.
with his vape. But yeah, I don't know. I think the vagina monologues would be the most
Well, I
uncomfortable
like the
thing.
idea of a monster truck rally. That would be good.
It's just
that
random.
would be
That would be
sweet.
fantastic, actually.
That would be
awesome.
awesome. bring
would
out
be
that
They would
truck
good.
dinosaur
completely destroy the turf, and they would have to play on that in the second half.
Right at the end, they have to jump the monster trucks like through the goalposts, just lands in the crowd, kills thousands, but it would be really awesome. Like, really awesome.
I feel like the NFL would be like, how many people is this actually gonna kill?
Yeah, they'd figure it out. Like, they'd figure it
like-
out. They get the
Like
right
500?
insurance.
All right, let's
Yeah.
do it.
And have the
I
data.
feel like the
There's
NFL
no
would be...
such thing as bad publicity.
Yeah, the NFL does not give a fuck.
Sit
Clearly.
there weighing up the math. It's like, well, if we kill 500 people, but if we get this many views in the halftime show, then I think we can come out ahead.
Yeah,
Like, I can
that
see
is the
doing that.
NFL's mentality. 100%.
Oh god, yeah. If I can just sell the cake farts thing a little bit, just envision this. Like, there's no intro.
Why are
There's
you
no like,
selling
and
this?
now for your beautiful halftime show. No, there's nothing. It's just dead silent, and everybody's kind of, the crowd is like a little bit of like, people are clapping a little bit and going like, woo, like trying to get something started. Like they know something's coming, they're not really what, but for the most part, it's pretty
The
quiet.
lights turn off.
And by
Lights
then,
off, yeah.
by then, like everything is like the sun is set, it's dark, like everybody's just waiting, like what happens, and then all of a sudden, all the lights in the entire stadium just completely shuts off, completely black, and everybody's kind of confused and murmuring, and then just spotlights in the middle in a stage that nobody even knew was there because
Okay.
during the blackout, it rose up out of the center, but there's no one there, and then an unassuming, skinny, not very attractive woman just walks up, just completely
Why do you keep
silently,
focusing on that?
completely silently. She just up the steps, just, and everybody's just like, what the fuck is this? And she just takes off her pants, and everybody's just like what, can you even show this on TV? Everybody, like, it's dead silent now. No, there's not a single peep in the audience. And then, like, a big twirly mustache chef just comes out with this giant ass cake and sets it down, and she waits for him to walk off all the way off the field, still total silence.
What kind of
And
cake,
then
though?
she-
Because that's important.
It's a
What kind of
chocolate
is it?
cake with, it's a vanilla cake with chocolate frosting.
Nice. Good choice. Excellent choice.
And then she just mounts the cake, and then through the silence,
Reenactment.
and the silence continues. And then the rest of the Super Bowl is just canceled because everybody doesn't even know what to do with themselves.
Teams can't even be brought out again.
They're all just sitting there like, I can't even move. Like they're so bewildered that they can't even continue playing.
And then she
the
just
rest of the
walks
Super Bowl
off.
has
She
to be
just walks
rescheduled.
off.
Yeah, and
Dude,
then
you know,
she
some
just-
of those
happened.
players,
Just
some of those players are like strangely aroused, and they don't want to come back out because it'll be really obvious. And that would be you see the guys walk back out, and you can clearly see their boners poking through what they're wearing. It's like, wow, they enjoyed that way too much.
I didn't
Like
know
they
this
can't stand
was
that.
my fetish, but apparently
Yeah.
it is.
Apparently it
They
is.
can't stand that kind of shame. So yeah,
I
those
learned-
guys just immediately can't play.
I learned so much about myself.
The
today.
losers of the game have to eat the cake. All right.
I feel like that's fair. That's fair.
Next question. Italicize asks, if you could only speak in someone else's tweets, who would you choose?
I think
John Carmack.
Yeah, John Carmack is like the easy answer here.
Just complicate all your
It's actually,
tweets.
like, that is my real non-comedy answer. If this was a legitimate situation, that would be my choice.
I just want to know what it feels like to be really smart for once. That's it.
I'm going to go the opposite here, and I'm going to go with blah.
Oh God.
You would never stop talking. You would.
I
like,
really like
constantly be
blah
talking all the
tweets.
time.
Now and then, blah tweets just get me. They just get me.
So it would
Jaden
just be, it would
Smith.
just be a walking billboard for Ask.fm.
Jaden
On
Smith.
the, on the plus side, like that'd be very valuable as a streamer. You would just constantly have, just verbal diarrhea,
Yeah.
and you would have that rolling commentary down so hard.
The 1 million answers of Jaden Smith in the chat. That would be awful.
Yeah, I
Like,
feel
you
like
would- everyone-
Jaden Smith and Hardball are the easy ones.
Yeah, but
that is-
everyone would hate you if that's how you talked
Oh, yeah.
all the time.
Yeah, you
like,
would
you
no
couldn't hold
longer.
a conversation with anyone that wasn't really special, if you know what I mean. you couldn't have those you couldn't talk with anybody. That would be the worst.
And also, you would just come off as an idiot because like half of the amazing part of Jaden Smith's tweets is that he capitalizes every single word, seemingly
he does.
non-ironically.
Yep.
Lil B is a good one. Lil B is a good one because he treads the fine line of ridiculous and parodying himself, but also being like, huh, this guy really gives a shit. Like,
you have to refer to yourself in the third person, though? Do you have to refer to yourself as yourself all the time? Because,
sign your tweets? You have to sign all your tweets?
Every sentence you have to be like, as said by, and then your name, like at the end of every sentence you say. Like, I feel like that's how you'd have to talk. I would get a little old.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. You gotta do that every time? This sentence is said by Nip Nop.
Yeah, but Lil B loves everybody. He just loves everybody.
But you're just talking like him. You're not full of his love, are you? Like, you just have to be disgruntled like Lil B. But disgruntled in like a weird, happy way.
It'd be difficult to explain to regular people that you just have regular conversations with what a baby bug is and why you feel like one sometimes. Like, what do you mean by baby? What do you mean sometimes you feel like a baby bug? And you're like,
there it is. First person to say Lil Tunchi.
Lil Tunchi. I would have to go with the Denny's Twitter, because then I would probably be like constantly inviting people out for breakfast, and I just have pancakes all the time. I'd also be cracking
make great puns.
Yeah, just a ton of like horrible dad puns that are just like the best, like horrible but awesome. Yeah.
The best kind of bad, like the good kind of bad, where it's just bad enough to still be funny. Yeah.
Yeah, dad jokes.
Yeah.
God.
With the occasional internet meme thrown in there, which would actually kind of upset me, but.
All right, next question. Legend of Steph asks, who stole the cookie from the cookie jar?
Nick Fenton.
Yeah, I think it was.
It's not me. They're called biscuits here. I don't steal cookies.
Biscuits.
Not me. It's called the biscuit.
Brandon's so mad. He's a fan of biscuits.
Yeah, I know.
I'm mad that you got out of this question on a technicality.
Wasn't me. I didn't do it. I swear. You got to point fingers at the people who aren't here, who clearly have something to hide, because they're hiding from something. They're probably giving up that cookie right now. So like, I would be looking at them.
Nick Fenton, we mentioned, is zooted in his closet, probably eating all of the cookies.
Zoots McCloset, that's his name.
You're super zooted. It's definitely whoever's the most zooted. So whoever's reached the most, whoever's at the most elevated state right now.
I will say right now that zooted is the greatest word.
Oh yeah.
It is the best way to say that.
I have no idea where it came from, but it's an excellent word.
I don't know.
I can tell you where I first heard it, but I feel like I'll be judged.
I've never heard this in my life, so.
Nick.
They're literally from a website called Most Offensive Video. And they're dubs of old Charlie Brown episodes, or like holiday specials, just completely dubbed over to be like the most like insensitive in every imaginable, like sexually, racially, like everything about it is not okay.
So it's like South Park crossed with Charlie Brown. Like,
it's worse than South Park. They're all like 70s black stereotypes, but they're all still little white children. So like,
should laugh at that.
Like Linus talks like this, like. It's fucking hilarious. But like,
it's too good.
And then for some reason they decided Marcy's like severely mentally challenged, so she talks like she has Down syndrome, and then and they all decide at the end of one of the episodes that because none of them have good drugs, they're all going to go back to Marcy's house and get zooted on her prescription like retard pills. I'm not. Let me emphasize. I'm not proud of this, and I'm sorry to bring this up. I'm
so fantastically awful.
Honestly, like ashamed that I find these funny, but
I just embrace it, dude.
We have a good follow-up question. Favorite type of cookie, quickly. Go around.
Or perhaps the follow-up should be favorite type of cookie to steal, which might be a different answer.
I mean, I think a really good fresh chocolate chip cookie just can't be beaten.
I know, yeah, because like
there's something about.
Because I really want to say Oreos, but you don't really do homemade Oreos. I'm sure someone out there does, but it's not like a common thing. It's not like you're not just like, I'm gonna bake some Oreos. You don't bake chocolate cookies and put cream filling in between them and make sandwiches. Like, that doesn't happen. But people make chocolate chip cookies all the time. And a good, like, homemade, like, melty, fresh out of the oven chocolate chip cookie is just, like, orgasmic.
I feel like there are other cookies that are maybe on that level, but nothing beats it. Like it's impossible to beat that flavor.
And by the way, this is
combination.
Any purchased from a store chocolate chip cookie is just bullshit in comparison.
Yeah, for the most
you gotta have
part.
like straight out the oven.
Yeah.
Gooey.
Like there are good ones. There are good ones, but if you're gonna put like the calories and all the fat and butter that goes into that in your body, you might as well be making them homemade.
I just feel like if we're saying our favorite type of cookie, you have to specify that we're not talking about like Chips Ahoy. We're talking about like a fresh homemade cookie.
Yes.
Because if we're talking about like, I think store-bought is even a different discussion, because if we're talking like what's your favorite store-bought cookie, that answer is probably different. Most store-bought chocolate chip cookies are not very good.
No.
There are good ones. Chips Ahoy is respectable. Famous Amos
Chewy Chips Ahoy is okay.
Famous Amos makes some good cookies.
They're respectable. Definitely respectable cookies. Entenmann's, fuck you. You know what you did.
I love that joke just came back. It's like a year old.
So mad.
Oh, the hatred of Entenmann's.
Terrible. Entenmann's, what are you doing? Your donuts, like, on point. You're Danish, on point. What the fuck are you doing with your cookies? Are you just, like, what? You're just sitting around just perfecting all these other culinary treats, and then it's time to work on the fucking cookie recipe, and you're just like, what are you fucking doing?
He's still so angry. Oh man, I love it.
It blows my fucking mind that there is such an inconsistency in quality of your products. Like, it somehow makes it worse. If you were just like the shit, if you were just like America's Choice, you're just like everything you make is just kind of shit, then I could understand. But no, you're Entenmann's. Like, you have a pedigree of your baked.
So passionate, goods. Such a passionate rage.
And then you get to the cookies, and you're just like, what the fuck what is with your chocolate chip cookies? They're so awful. They taste like they're made with like artificial sweetener and sadness and for the Ferguson situation all baked into a cookie. That's what it tastes like.
Oh my god! He went. Wow. Oh, I'm so happy about that.
Current events into it.
Jesus.
What the fuck?
Shout outs to Broomsweeper in chat. Of course, footy ball player man. This man apparently gets a chocolate chip cookie and a glass of milk after every meal when he's in a hotel on the road, and he has ranked the cookies of hotels.
Oh my god!
So far, DoubleTree Sweets apparently has fresh baked cookies at the front desk. Pro tip.
That's a really specific benefit to even be able to rank.
I know, man.
Seriously,
it's awesome though.
I mean, I've been to a lot of hotels, and I don't maybe had like a chocolate chip cookie once.
Yeah, and the W in Hoboken has the best. Olive on 8 in Seattle, second place.
This can be a thing. Like Brandon was gonna be like hotel Wi-Fi reviewer guy forever ago. Now Eric can review hotel cookies.
Actually, you know what?
Hotel cookie, bro.
I can actually get on board with this. The Sheraton in St. Louis, in Clayton, has pretty solid cookies. So actually, I'm on board with this.
Oh, I somewhat regret not having a job where I traveled a bench, but on the other hand,
listen, you don't want the experience of traveling is not worth having like the useless knowledge of where to find a good cookie on the road.
I'm gonna disagree with that statement.
I will say that there were no cookies in my Airbnb in Seattle. There were no cookies.
So is that something that just like anybody staying at a hotel can do? You can just be like, yeah, special request. I'd like to have a glass of milk and a cookie.
I bet they do it because they want people to feel like at home.
You could probably request all kinds of weird shit.
Some hotel chains probably have that, but like the one hotel I was talking about, they had a lounge area for frequent travelers, and so they had cookies in there.
Right.
I gotta test that. Like when I do PAX in this month, I gotta ask for like a framed picture of a horse or something like that, and just see if they give it to me. Because if they I want that placed on my bed, I can't stay in this hotel room unless I have a framed picture of a horse. Just see if they do it, because then
like, need to beat off to this horse pic when I get in here.
Some guy takes a picture of Mr. Hands and puts it there. Oh God, no!
No. There you go. Worst cookie, Sheridan in Kansas City. Worst cookie ever.
Shots fired.
Wow. Step your game up.
So
seriously, guys, you guys are the Entenmann's of
this question evolved into something else entirely.
And if we're going store bought, I think like objectively the correct answer here is the Christmas Oreos.
Mm-hmm.
Like those are hard. Those are hard to beat.
I go with Famous
I have not had
Amos
them.
chocolate chip. You know what are
let's
bullshit
talk-
and garbage?
Let's talk like super mass produced.
Okay, you know what's the worst?
Oreos.
Fucking Chips Ahoy are shit. Garbage.
Like
Just garbage.
regular Chips Ahoy are terrible.
They are
They're not
terrible.
that bad.
Anyone who thought
stay
Chips
away
Ahoy
out
was
of this
good,
conversation.
you had to be like 5, because they're not. They're not
I
good.
mean, every now and then, like I can,
We're talking comparison to literally any other cookie.
and like don't get me wrong, like there are
Can
some
you think of a
fucking
worse
great,
cookie?
like yeah.
Brandon's
Did you
like
not
really
hear the
challenging.
past like 15 minutes I talked about
Entenmann's. All right. You know what are
Like-
good though? Yo, Broom. Yeah, I just said Milano's. Pepperidge Farm. Delicious.
Oh yeah,
Milano's
Milano's
great.
are fantastic. And Pepperidge Farm just generally makes really good cookies. I bought a bunch of like soft, giant
Yeah.
like that big cookies that were just fantastic. Like they had a dark chocolate cheesecake cookie and like a double chocolate chip cookie. Like oh man, they were fucking good. And they
Do
were
we
all soft, which is
consider
good.
Girl Scout cookies now? Upside Down Land. Do you have Girl Scouts? Do you have Girl Scout cookies down there?
Do we have Girl Scouts? Yes, we do.
Are they the
Girl
same
Scout
ones, or is it just Girl Scouts of America
How would
that
I
have
know
the
if
same
they're
cookies?
the same
I don't
ones?
know. I'm just
I don't
asking.
fucking know.
Let me
Do
see.
you have Thin Mints?
Do you have Thin Mints?
Probably. I don't,
Tag-alongs?
Thin Mints are top.
Never heard of that second one. Whatever Dan just said. Thin Mints I've heard of.
Girl
The other
Scouts
one,
of Australia. I'm looking this shit up right now.
That couldn't sound more rapey, but continue.
Oh god.
It's called
But,
the answer. The answer for down here is something called the Tim Tam. Tim Tam is the best like chocolate cookie biscuit thing you'll ever eat. And we get everyone every time there's someone from out of the country who comes in, we have to get them some and teach them the proper way to eat it. The Tim Tams are delicious. So eat that.
We have Thin Mints, which are fucking delicious. They're just a crunchy chocolate cookie. It's like a chocolate peppermint cookie, and that
yeah,
doesn't
we have those.
sound
Yeah,
okay.
No, we have those.
Those are amazing.
I would go to work on a full box of Samoas.
Yeah,
Are
Samoa's.
Samoa's the coconut ones?
Yeah, and that's the
Like
funny thing is I
coconut caramel?
don't like coconut, but
Those are
Samoas are
good.
so good.
Kangaroo Scouts of Australia, sponsored by Foster's.
Just sponsored by beer. Just all these kids.
I can't even be
Italicized,
I can't
I'd
even be
put
mad
an
at that.
entire box of Thin Mints in my ass.
They were not as thin as advertised.
Samoa's are really good. Tagalongs are best. Tagalongs are best. If that's the ones I'm thinking of, tagalongs. Yes,
the peanut butter
yes.
ones.
God damn tagalongs. If we get a box of tagalongs in this house, I'm pretty much gonna throw up that same day because I've just eaten all the tagalongs. I've just eaten like 40
The
tagalongs.
only thing you put in your body that day.
Yeah.
No, it's not. He puts lots in his body. We all know this.
Yeah, that's true. All right.
Yeah,
Next
nice.
question. @_Saley asks, favorite Halloween memory from your childhood? I'd like to hear what Halloween was like back in the 1950s from Dan specifically. Jesus Christ.
Should I just leave?
shit on.
Should I just leave? Should I just leave the call? We don't do Halloween here. Halloween's not a thing that happens.
Really?
It's been a
Oh,
thing-
that
it's been a thing.
sucks.
It's been a thing for the last like 5 or so years maybe, but otherwise, like when I was a kid, nope, no Halloween, did not exist. I have no fond Halloween memories because my childhood was empty and devoid of all humor and enjoyment.
You know, funny enough, I
Don't
used-
have anything
I had
do
to
with
fight
not
off
Halloween.
herds of koalas. Like, you don't understand what that life is like. You don't have time to fucking get your treats, okay?
You're
and
just
pass
a
around
man
these
at
baskets.
6.
Bro, dude, when the swarms of koalas come in, and they swarm, like they really swarm. Like you gotta
I bet.
prepare yourself for that. There's no time for
Like a tidal
getting your
wave of
treats and
furry fury.
dressing up as something funny. It's serious down here, okay? It's ridiculous. But go on, talk about your childhood bullshit.
There's
Go on,
no
have a great
Halloween in the
time.
Outback when you're too busy trying not to die by like spiders.
By everything that
Everything.
exists in the Outback, by the Outback itself. The land is trying to eat you. It's ridiculous. But yeah, go talk about your fond childhood memories. That's great stuff.
I'm gonna go with, I don't know. I was a Ninja Turtle one year, and that was badass, I guess. Like, I got nothing. All I
dude,
got
yeah,
is memories of good candy.
Like, seriously, I don't really remember anything from my
So much good
childhood.
candy in
I have
my
a
childhood.
really
Oh, yeah.
terrible,
Good.
I have a really terrible memory, like in general. So I don't remember this stuff. Like I think one time, like when we were just old enough to like know how to play poker, so we were probably like 12 or 13, and like
Sounds
probably had a whole bunch of the rules wrong, and then we just like decided to bet on all of our candy. And then I think eventually we got bored of playing poker and started betting on like Super Smash Brothers on the Nintendo 64.
Sounds great.
And it's
Someone
still
with
a
that
really
memory. That's a
vague
really
memory.
specific memory.
It's I really don't.
Glad you brought that up.
I don't really know that it is. Like I don't really remember it. Like I could be totally wrong about that. Like that could have not even ever happened. As
See,
far as I know.
I only got into Halloween in my once I could drink. Like that's when I really got into Halloween, because then there were Halloween parties at college, and it was awesome.
I was gonna say Halloween is a pretty big deal in college.
And one time we went to this girl's house that we knew from high school, and she lived down here in Pittsburgh. But we didn't really hang out with her, so we went to this house party as a group, and we showed up there. Right, it was supposed to be this like banging house party. There were 4 people there, right, when we got there.
Oh.
Nobody was partying hard at all. We had already been drinking for quite a large amount of time. And so we were like, well, let's just make the best of this shit. So she had Jell-O shots in her fridge that no one was eating. And we decided, well, eating Jell-O isn't very efficient, you know, as far as trying to consume these Jell-O shots. So we microwaved them all.
And you just turned it into vodka.
And we just turned it into shots.
Genius.
And we just drank all of them. Like 60
So you just
of them.
decomposed the Jell-O shots.
Yes.
Broke them on down.
It's really like an odd level of intelligence.
Yeah.
That's
And then-
That's like
kind
a
of a
weird
smart
thing
idea.
because Jell-O shots are typically regarded as like a pretty efficient way to get drunk.
Yeah.
And you were not happy even with that.
No. And,
wasn't efficient enough for Dan's standards.
no. So that same night, and for those who don't know, if you live in the Pittsburgh area and you're listening to this and you haven't been to one of the great Halloween parties, there is a huge Halloween party here every year. These guys own a house just to throw this party. It's the only reason they own it. And every
intense.
year they have a theme. They like kit it out in a theme, and there's like every room in the house has like a different part from that theme, and there's a roller coaster in the backyard of the house. Like I'm pretty sure nothing about it is legal, but like they had a local brewery bring all the beer last year. Like they hire a cop to do the door and everything. It's like $50, but it's all free drinks the whole night.
Damn.
And it goes to like 5 a.m. the next day. It's fucking amazing. So, yeah, I haven't been to it for a couple of years, but that's where we ended up post Jell-O shots, was at that party. So, it was amazing.
Eric said that when he was young, his mom spent 20 hours making him a Big Bird costume by gluing yellow party napkins to sweatpants and a sweatshirt. And a
Damn.
hat with 2 foam balls for the eyes. And then he said, and the kids kept ripping the napkins off my costume.
Oh,
You got a picture of that somewhere,
Halloween
Eric?
memory. That sounds horrible.
Eric, you got a picture of that somewhere? That sounds adorable. Just put that in the chat. It sounds
So, I used to go as like a ninja, or like a Ninja Turtle, or like a G.I. Joe, or some shit when I was little. My son is going as Minecraft Steve this year. This is where we're at now, America.
Arrived.
How did you not like dress him up as Batman or something, Dan? Like I'm ashamed. Like come on.
Last
Dude.
year he went as a Star Wars Stormtrooper.
That's good. It's good. Solid. Nice.
Yeah, so that has translated
Respectable.
across generations, but apparently Minecraft Steve is the thing this year. So simple costume though. Tomb, you went as to Halloween as Tomb. That's good.
It's good. It's always like the douchebag that goes to dress up parties. Like if you have any sort of theme party and you go there, and the one guy that doesn't dress up, and you're like, "Oh, what are you supposed to be?" And they're like, "Oh, I'm your mom's boyfriend." It's like, "Oh, you're hilarious, you fucking piece of shit."
When was the last
get
time
too
you guys did a
passive-aggressive with those
costume? I was we talked about this last week.
Like earlier in the year.
No, I was like the dude from The Big Lebowski the last time.
Oh, what were you?
I dressed
I
up.
forgot what I was.
I do
Was it a few
anything
years
I
ago?
can not to dress up. So
I'm with Brandon on this one.
my costumes recently, like probably in the past, well, let's say
Twitch
6
employee.
years. The past 6 years have been like what Hillary forces me to do, and I try to do slightly less than that. So it usually involves like a hat, and
Man with
Like-
festive hat.
Yeah,
Next
man
year,
with
man
hat.
with different festive hat.
Like I think I was a pirate one time in college, and that was like I just
Do you
had
have
a
the eye
hat.
patch? Do you have the eye patch
Oh,
as
yeah, I
well?
think
You
I
didn't
had
do
an
the
eye
eye patch? Yeah,
That's
see,
an
there
eye
you
patch.
go.
that I took
That's
off.
dedication.
Yes.
That's enough. That's enough.
Nicholas GB in chat. I might go as a white knight this year. I'll wear an ill-fitting suit and a fedora.
And then just
take
bring
that.
a sword and shield.
Yeah, just go as a
Yeah.
Redditor. Just go as a Redditor.
Go
Just
as
go
a
as
Redditor.
yourself,
Oh,
but
Jesus
talk about
Christ.
atheism all night. Just
Oh, God. Nothing
man.
sounds
don't even
worse
dress
than that.
up. Just yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
real
Um,
good way to get like the shit kicked out of you at a party. Then yeah, do that. Do exactly that.
And to finish to finish off the viewer questions this week, Broomsweeper wants to know how Matt likes having Frodo as a neighbor in the Shire.
Well, I mean, the Shire's a while away. Like that's all the way over in New Zealand. So that's like a small boat ride away. But I mean, it's okay. He's a nice guy. He's real little. It's ridiculous. Like probably like comparable to Dan, like somewhere around the same
Wow,
height. I'm
dude.
not sure, but like short-ish. Like I haven't met Dan yet, but that's what I imagine is like. But he's he's a nice enough mannered guy. He's a good person.
He's definitely got
Great
the feet.
cook. Great cook though. Like incredible.
Tells
cook.
a mean story.
Not really. They're really depressing stories about how he almost died that one time and lost his finger. So like it's not the great. Like
yeah.
he gets
yeah.
like he has a lot of PTSD. Like
Can't blame him.
It's really,
don't
really
ever
depressing. Like,
don't ever sound like a dragon or anything like that. Just don't.
see, like it's okay now, but like when new people meet him, they'll be like, "Oh, so what have you been up to?" It's like, no, and they're just like, "Well, I mean, just living without the finger and the sadness that my friends died." It's like, "Oh God," and then he just gets in this mode, and it's really depressing. Really.
This mode.
Otherwise, he's an okay guy.
All right. No, my wife is very slightly taller than me. Just like Orb. They're both like very slightly taller than me.
Doesn't Orb only have you in hair though?
He does have me in hair. Yeah. If I did the hair thing, I might catch up. But that is it, guys. Episode 161, an intimate conversation. Live from Australia.
3 p.m. in Australia. Yeah, on a Monday.
Matt, thanks for coming on to the cast tonight.
No worries, mate.
Brandon, blah. Thanks for showing up.
You're welcome.
Shout outs to John for getting married. And I believe that's why he's not here. So,
I know his family's in town.
yeah. So,
Well marriaged.
well marriaged.
Well married.
But that is it for episode 161. We'll, of course, be back next week with 162. And then 163 will be live from Extra Life. Around a
That'll
table.
probably be on Saturday night.
Yes. Yeah, Saturday night. There won't be one on... That's 2 weeks from this Sunday. There will not be a podcast.
You'll be next to one another. Oh man, that's gonna get like so like physically intimate. I feel like
It's
that
pretty
podcast.
sweet. Yeah.
You might get tossed. Like, keep everything below the desk, like right here. Like if you're gonna rub one.
Yeah,
out,
we
get-
have an actual conference table to sit at. We're just going to put mics on
that's
it.
so
It's going to be
awesome.
pretty
That's-
sick.
Dan, you're nice and short too, so you can just like sneak under and start giving blowies or whatever it is you're gonna do. Like, that's what I assume will go down.
So
I'll tune
we'll
in.
have Blah on a monitor at one of the seats. That'll be good.
Monitor
Monitor
to a
Blah.
robot's body.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Made out
actually.
of make a robot out of beer cans that you guys have
a
consumed
fake
over the
Blah
weekend.
that we
Yeah.
can put.
I'm wearing my hat on the screen, but then the monitor also has another hat on top of it.
It's a raccoon body from the monitor down. It'll be sweet. I can see
Yeah.
that going. Just tape it to like a plushy raccoon thing. It'll be cool.
Wouldn't be creepy at all.
Nope.
But that is it. Thanks for watching the show tonight, episode 161. We will see you guys next week. Later,
Bye.
bros.
Bye.
I'm still playing Dark Souls.
Yatta!